recording right about now.
Big boobies.
No, wait. No. Now.
Damn it, Tim.
Now.
Big gazongas.
Right now. All right. Welcome to episode, I think it's 75 of the Current Gen podcast.
We're halfway there, guys.
I kind of said that a little Canadian
To
episode,
what?
right?
I know what
Don't Canadians do the Z sound for S's like they say resources and episode?
I just know they say A at the end of stuff, supposedly.
That's
I'm more
allegedly.
familiar with South Park Canadian, not real
All right,
Canadian.
fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, like the A's and the boots and Flend.
The
Buddy.
boots.
I imagine it's either just like that or nothing like that. It's either Letterkenny or South Park.
All right,
Those
that's
are the
fair
only
enough.
Canadians I know.
There's no middle ground.
They're probably
There's no
the
middle
other.
ground.
accurate. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well,
open
anyway.
every episode now. We're halfway there, guys.
We're
Just wanna
halfway
let you
there.
guys know that.
I don't know what we're halfway to, but I'm excited that we're halfway there. Isn't there like
Good to have
there's
goals.
some kind of like philosophical thing where if you always just go halfway to your destination, you'll never get there. Just every day you go halfway there. Isn't there
mean-
some kind of thing about? I feel like there's some
Yeah.
kind of philosophical
That
I mean,
sounds
sure.
debate about that.
that sounds
Anyway,
mentally painful. You just never reach an ending. It's just forever.
you're just always making it halfway there. So then every time you start again, you only make it halfway from where you were before.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. There's your brain buster for the day. All right. Well, my name's Tim. I'm here with Dan, Jeff, and Kyle and Derek, who I gotta say, I finally got a chance to listen to the whole episode here at the end of this week.
My
And
condolences.
we have to give
Sorry.
Derek credit. He did a good job.
He did try. He did
He tried. He did
He
try.
brought it.
That
He brought
was-
it home. I'll say
He-
that. Yeah.
he
That was
did
a lot of
good
trying.
job.
Some would say that's trying hard. He was a little try hard.
I was just glad that he tried. I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
I loved his enthusiasm.
He
I
did
know, it's
swear
great.
a lot, which I did try to maintain, but
And
you know, I just
Dan, I gotta come to his defense here a little bit. I think you guys were even in that score.
Yeah,
The tallies. I think
I
you
mean,
guys.
you reciprocated.
Tim, I've already explained that. To be fair, there would be profanities every other sentence, but
True.
out of respect for you, because
It's been a crazy week
You know?
and a half or two for me, really. Lots of crazy stuff going on in life and work and everything else. So when I got it was just under 2 hours from last week. I had two choices. One was just post it and see what happens. Or I could have taken what probably would have ended up being 4 hours or so of editing, trying to find each moment. And I was like, you know what? This is just going to have a warning on it. Just be careful if bad language bothers you. But I listened through it, and it really, first of all, wasn't as bad as you guys made it sound. I think you also decided to make me scared about how bad it was. It really wasn't that bad.
Oh,
it
all
was
right,
more than
then.
usual. It was more than usual.
It was more.
Well,
Yeah,
I think that's
I
a stamp of
think,
approval to continue doing what we did last
Like we
week.
showed up a little bit.
No, that's not what that is.
All right,
Tacit
let's keep
approval
doing it,
there.
guys.
But I
An
just wanted to
invitation?
float this idea out there, and I wanted to record this too. Also, if listeners have thoughts, or if you guys have thoughts, but the idea early on when I started this podcast was with Derek wasn't that, bad words are naughty, and I don't want to hear them. That's not what it is. Because I
Ding
listen to,
Dong.
Being such
I
a
listen-
dad, shaking his
I
finger.
listen to I do like being the dad. Don't get me wrong. I love that. So let's just don't
We know.
stop that. But I don't have a problem with having a conversation with folks, yourselves included, who spice it up with language here and there. But I do like the idea of having one of the few amateur podcasts. We're not professional. We're not attached to some kind of big company. We're not making money. That doesn't have to fill every space with. Have you guys ever listened to other amateur podcasts? It can be
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
rough.
Kyle and I, our last podcast together was just every other word was the F word.
Yeah. Well,
Now, after being on my show for so long, and now that you're on this show all the time too, I get
think this show is a reform for us for sure. So yeah, because our last show was just off the rails. But that's the thing.
Some
you
of the
lean into
episodes
that-
would go like 3 or 4 hours, and I'd be like, I guess this is 2 parts now because we just
Yeah.
go off the rails so
Well,
hard.
and to your defense and with the point that you're making, Tim, is that like we relied on it for comedy and stuff like that. So it's like people will rely on it,
Some
So
of my
it's nice. It's nice
favorite-
to be kind of cutting a different
one of my
way.
favorite shows and comedians. They include all kinds of language and topics, and they do it in a way that
I mean,
if it's your replacement for and so
Yeah.
and then I start to kind of just roll my eyes like this is exhausting. I can't talk to someone.
see, it's just in our DNA over here, though, in Massachusetts. It's just in our DNA, Tim.
Just
Like,
stop.
we can't help it. I mean, I
You
wasn't
can't park the car.
I wasn't born here,
shack.
but you know.
Was it on Ted Lasso? There was a recent episode of something I watched. I think it was a recent episode of Ted Lasso where he talked about people who swear all the time. It means that it's it gives away the fact that they don't really have a lot of other words to use. Like their vocabulary is limited. Anyway, all that to say, I might be thinking of it wrongly, and maybe everyone, like the audience,
they've done studies, Tim. They've done studies.
The audience for a show like this doesn't need this, but I do think, and I have heard this from a handful of listeners. This was a while back in Fathers of the Grind days and early current gen podcast days. I've had a few parents listen to the show who are like, I am glad I can throw this on in the car and not worry that you're going to start talking about some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is what it is. It's just
I'll just keep saying words like ding dong and gazongas and dookie, stuff like that. Make sure it's clean.
PP head. How about PP head?
So still naughty words.
PG-13 is a great goal because then it actually makes it funny, the replacements we have to come up with for stuff.
Sure.
And it allows us not to have to slap the explicit warning on every episode. But anyway, all that to say, in all sincerity, I commend Derek and also all of you guys. I thought it was a really fun show last week. I was listening through and you made me want to play Ascent. So I did play some Ascent today. We'll talk about that. And that game is
a victory for us, guys. We did it.
I do take issue though a little bit, Jeff. This isn't current film podcast. I don't know what's going on with you. What is happening with
listen.
I'm the movie guy.
Keep it going.
I got a gimmick going.
That's why you hired him. He's the movie guy.
I'm just kidding. I of course love TV shows and movies too. So I also like getting recommendations. So I'm just joking.
Mr. Robot, all I'm saying.
And dude, you guys have me so sold on that show. That is
Mr. Robot.
That's coming up for me next. You got me so sold on that show.
I know Kyle got into season 2 somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it over because I feel like I'm being foolish about the show. So
yeah, it's
it's been too long, and I think did someone on this podcast say like it's something you just want to watch all the way through. You don't want to. Yeah, there you go, Dan.
Yeah,
you don't want to take you don't want to take a 2-year break. You know,
you mentioned how it's like that. It's like a movie like that, and like the other show, Dark. I think you said was like that, where you just watch it all the way through.
Yeah. So confusing to try to track with it.
Exactly. Oh yeah, week to week it was a nightmare. Going so what happened in the last episode again? Like it was fun and not fun at the same time watching it week to week.
All right. Well, at the taking a risk of being overly serious, I am really thankful that we get a chance to meet every week. You guys are taking time out of your weekends to talk.
Yeah, I love it.
Derek also when he's here to talk. It really is a great outlet for me because especially in the last week. Last week's been really tough for a whole bunch of different reasons.
Yeah, so you're telling me.
It's just been really, really great to have a moment where I can just pause all the stuff that's happening and just dive into just honestly, truthfully, not important life. This isn't important to life, but it's so fun and I love it. So,
but it's good for your mental health because you like it.
It is good for my mental health. That's right.
It is.
So with that being said, we'll go through a few headlines. We've got a good number of games that we're playing and some shows that we're watching. A big movie just came out. We'll talk about Suicide Squad and then we'll close it out if there's time.
Excuse me. It's the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, yeah.
The
Suicide Squad. And then we'll close.
You mean the 2016? You mean the 2016 Suicide Squad?
We're just talking about
you mean Oscar award-winning 2016 Suicide Squad?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
That one over Star Trek Beyond. I will never forgive the Academy for that. Blows a girl's hair moved in Star Trek Beyond and it looked real. Whatever.
Yeah. I saw another picture of Crocodile Man today and I just laughed. So
anyway, and then we'll do a 20 questions if there's time, but that one we can always bump to another week because who knows what we'll get into conversation about.
I will insist we do that this episode.
Let us dive in. According to Take-Two's first quarter earnings report, which is always fun. I don't know about you guys. I love diving into a good earnings report.
I mean, I kind of do, yeah.
I mean, I'm not getting
I know
any
that's
of that
probably
money.
like not normal, but yeah, it's kind of fun.
Their new franchise, which we've heard little bits and pieces how they've got a new IP they're working on. It's going to be unveiled this month, and they've confirmed that they're hoping to launch it sometime this fiscal year, which runs through the end of March of 2022. So That's pretty exciting. They could be pulling a Bethesda if all goes well.
I mean, it could be exciting, or it could just be them trying to do something that's similar to Grand Theft Auto Online, so it's just some online thing.
Dude, if they do like what Ubisoft just did with the fake Splinter Cell that turned into that weird.
I can't take any more fake outs.
It's like middle finger X or whatever it's called. Yeah. It's like Defiant. F you guys.
They literally just took Sam Fisher out in the back and shot him. Like it's like at this point, we're never gonna get a Splinter Cell ever again.
At the end of every level.
Yeah. It's Tom Clancy's
Shoot the
Fortnite.
balls.
What are you?
Tom Clancy.
So anyway, that's interesting to see, and this is 2K specifically. So I mean, it could be a sports franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah.
Part of me thought for a second, because I wasn't reading it closely enough, I thought, ooh, Mafia 4, because I just thought maybe the trilogy did great, and then I realized they're saying it's a new franchise. Okay, totally new franchise. Let's see what this is. I hope it's not like, I don't know, some kind of Olympic sport that no one cares, like a cricket type of a game, you know? Hopefully not that.
Yeah.
We shall see. But hey, this is kind of interesting. I saw one of you added this, and so I went to look it up to get more details. The South Park creators, of course, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, they signed a new deal with MTV. First of all, MTV's still around. Good job, MTV. Didn't know that.
It's the ridiculousness channel. Yeah.
Who knew?
They're ridiculous.
But this deal,
The-
speaking of
the
ridiculous,
knockoff.
this deal is insane. If these rumors are true, it's a $900 million deal that gets them to
Jeez.
create 14 South Park movies for Paramount Plus, and in addition to more episodes or more seasons of the show,
Mhm.
Jeez.
and developing, I think it's 2 video games, right?
Yeah.
Or is it-
At least it's
Maybe
a
it's
video
one-
game. I
Maybe
know.
it's one
Yeah.
3D video game. They said
Yeah.
set in South Park.
3D.
Dude, that's an
Yeah.
insane.
I
I
mean,
didn't know about
South
the
Park is
dollar
alive
amount.
and well, folks. You know.
I
I
didn't
love
know
the-
about the dollar amount. That's amazing. That's
I love
That's
the
like
two
an acquisition.
RPGs. I love the 2 RPGs.
No
I like
wonder
the first
those
one
go-
more,
yeah,
but
same. I think both of those games are awesome.
Look,
And
I
I
love-
think that now they can definitely afford Casa Bonita, so maybe that's gonna happen.
Is
So.
it-
I love
it
the.
third? Of this series, or do you think it's going to be?
I don't know.
I hope it is.
I
but,
really hope that they just keep on doing that, to be honest. But I don't know.
Yeah. I hope it's a trilogy,
Mm.
honestly, and then they can maybe migrate to a different type of game.
I'm wondering what the theming would be because first was medieval fantasy, then they went
Sci-fi.
superhero,
Sci-fi.
sci-fi. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
The three
sure.
pillars. Yeah.
I will say that the title of the second game was one of the few times that I got my wife to laugh about anything involving video games.
Mm.
So I was like,
great.
"Hey, check out the new title of the South
I
Park
think
game."
I think Kyle and I were still podcasting, and I kept calling it the fractured, however, whole to get around
Which
it.
doesn't- or yet fractured. Yet.
Fractured yet.
But when I showed it to, I just said it to her. I was like, "It's fractured but whole."
What?
But why are you saying butthole weird?
Why are you putting a
It's
space?
butthole.
You're trying to be like Frasier or something, a butthole.
Putting a space between the cheeks?
Frasier. Oh man, mouse butthole.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's how he would say it because he's not British, but he kind of has that like fancy pompous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has
Well, that's what he
British
meant
air,
by
I guess,
tossed
about-
salad and scrambled eggs for sure.
Yes,
That's exactly what he meant.
The scrambled eggs. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we'll see what that ends up being. I know that those first 2 games were a hit. Were both
Yeah.
hits, and so we'll see if. Because
So
it
I
doesn't
want-
say anything about like Ubisoft. Like
No,
It
no,
does
we
say
don't know
that,
anything
no
about that
idea
yet.
if there's any connection with their previous development partners or if it's brand new. Who knows?
I wanted
But
to
that's a lot of
mention,
money. So they could probably do whatever they want.
I wanted to mention the movies are a big deal because the last time they made a movie bigger, longer, and uncut, it's still amazing. I love that
Still
movie.
amazing.
But the TV show thing, I think it's extended the deal to 2030. So that's how much more South Park we're going to get.
Got
Like
it.
that's insane.
Yeah. So
So
that
I
means
hope you guys are ready for more yuck
I mean,
yucks.
Simpsons
2
is
movies a
still
year?
being released.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan. What'd you say?
Oh no, I was just saying the Simpsons is they're still pumping out
Right.
seasons, so why not South Park also? You know.
If
Yeah.
I'm doing the math right, that means roughly 2 movies a year. If they were to start working on them now and release the first one in 2023, then you've got two a year, maybe.
I think they said 2 were coming out this year.
2 are coming out this year, yeah.
Oh, this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
This year,
Jeez.
2021. Yeah.
You know what? And I know that
2 of them.
I know they've gone public saying they'll never do it again. But I would love for them to make a
Yeah.
Team America too. Like
Oh, me
that's-
too. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
dude,
I
would-
bet it was
yeah.
such a nightmare to make.
They
but,
said
like,
they said they're never doing it again. It was like the worst. It
They
was
said
so-
that with the South Park games too. After the first one, they're like, "We're never doing it
They did
again."
say
and then
that,
they made
yeah.
the second game.
they said it
so-
was the hardest experience they'd ever done, and they
I remember them threatening to walk away more than once from the show, saying,
Yeah.
"We're never doing this. This has been too hard."
Yeah, yeah.
Team America is one of those movies that I can't recommend to most of my friends and family because it's going to offend them to the point of their head exploding.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I have to pause it because I'm laughing so hard.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
that's-
ridiculous.
I think
It's
that
so
movie is one of
amazing.
the funniest movies of all time. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's so hilarious.
I would if I were them and did commission a sequel. Obviously, they could just hire some other people they could just write the script and that's it. Just
Yeah.
have somebody else do all the work.
Everybody else take care.
I would call it Team World America Police because I think that'd be hilarious.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Very
Yeah. I think they'd probably have to do what most sequels do. They have to take it to space. So now it's Team Space Force, and it'd probably have to be space related.
Yeah, we go. There's something topical. I like that.
And Trump is the evil villain on the moon.
And
Of
Trump,
course.
yeah.
No, of course. You know.
That seems like that would be an angle, right? Like,
Yeah.
long as
No,
Matt-
you
this
are
time-
writing this movie right now.
They need to have the Matt Damon from Stillwater, so it's goatee Matt Damon. In it.
Hey, where's
Okay,
my
but he
daughter?
still says Matt Damon. Though.
Matt
I'm
Damon,
here
Matt
for my
Damon.
daughter.
Matt Damon.
Bonjour.
Oh,
Here's my daughter.
So funny.
Matt Damon,
Matt
Matt
Damon.
I'm
Damon.
here for my daughter. All right. So
I saw that movie, by the way. Him talking French is the funniest part of the movie.
but I've
Oh,
heard it's
jeez.
good. I've heard it's good.
It is actually good. It's
about
just
said
it's like Brad Pitt speaking Italian in Glorious Bastards, where he's like
Yeah, it's,
"Buongiorno," and it's really funny. It's like that, but unintentionally funny.
Yeah, it's like Jason Bourne from the Deep South. Pretty much is what's happening over there.
Right.
So we already had some bad news last week about New World. And this is, I guess you could call it bad news, but not really. They're delaying New World for a month.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's a freaking computer chip, so it's
Yeah,
probably
it was melting cards. So
Amazon's pushing it back 1 month. I do wonder if it's related to that or if it's related to feedback they're getting from players.
They said that, right? I think that's what they said. That due to the feedback from the players, like that's.
it was a beta. So I mean, you
Yeah.
collect
Closed, right?
the data
Yeah.
for
Makes sense. That tracks to me. Yeah.
So it was August 31st, the end of this month, and now they're pushing it back just to the end of September. Not a big delay. So, but hopefully enough time for them to rectify some situations, especially the card frying.
Well, they've patched that, so
Yeah.
hopefully that's not something that comes back.
And I did hear that they officially said they're going to replace any cards that were free.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh,
good.
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 Awesome. Yeah.
And if you know, I mean, they have access to all the cards, so they'll be able.
Yeah,
to
They're
cards
just
out.
taking them out of the warehouse. They're already paid for those cards. Yeah.
Exactly.
Evil Dead, the game. Speaking of delays, has been pushed back to February 2022, which is when every game is now coming out. I think every game
Yeah.
ever made.
Every
is coming
game,
Biggest
every
year
yep,
in game
that's
ever.
accurate. GTA 6, February 2022.
February 2022.
You heard it here first.
But they
Yep.
specifically said they want to polish it. They want it to be the game that everyone's expecting. They want it to be fun. They just have too many pieces. They're still trying to pull together for it. Also, they're adding in. Don't know if they were already playing this, but a single player mode. I didn't
Yeah.
see a lot of details on that yet. If that just
If-
means like bots or if there's an actual story, I don't know.
Well, if they're
Campaign
saying
plays.
addition, that means it wasn't there to begin with. I didn't know that. So
That's exciting.
Yeah.
As far
Yeah.
as I know, this is something they've chosen to add in, and so they've bumped
Yeah.
it back to create that timeline. Now, again,
That's kind of
is
how I
that-
read it too.
is that going to be just like a bots version where you can kind of set up and play the same game modes solo against computer, or is it an actual story with missions, that kind of thing? Who knows?
I hope it's a campaign.
God, I
That'd be
really hope it's a
amazing.
campaign. Even if it just shares a lot of the similarities of the multiplayer, like beats or whatever. Just give me some cutscenes, give me some reasons.
Yeah, just
while
have
I'm doing
Bruce
stuff.
Campbell talking to me a little bit. That's all I need.
Yeah,
exactly,
I'm in.
exactly.
I'm in. Yeah.
There's this game that's actually out in on early access right now on Steam. This game looks fascinating. It's called Monster Crown. I've seen it talked about in a few different kind of sizzle reels and like, hey, here's a bunch of indie games coming out. I've seen it in some things like that. I want to say it was maybe even over E3. One of the many presentations might have featured it at one point. Could have been a Nintendo indie showcase at one point. But anyway, this game is coming to, I believe it's coming to most platforms. It's definitely coming to Switch. This game, in my opinion, it shamelessly rips off, but in a good way, old school Pokemon. I'm talking like the Game Boy Advance style visuals where it still looks like the Game Boy, but now it's a little more detailed. There's a lot more color in there.
Yeah.
And so I watched the video on this. It's coming out on October 12th, by the way, which is the best day. That's my birthday. And this game looks really cool. Like the monster design looks it looks less kind of cringy. When you're playing Pokemon, especially the newer ones, you start to cringe at some of the monsters. They're like, hey, this is iceberg cone.
Well, there's
And he's
like
ice cream cone.
I remember
wow.
remember the Pokemon that's just a giant pile of trash.
right, Garbodor. I
Yeah.
think it's Garbodor.
Yep.
Yeah.
They ran out of ideas.
They definitely did.
Well, that's the thing. There's so
These
many
look creative.
There's so many
And-
Pokemon clones now, like because there's this one. I think there's one called Monster Sanctuary.
That one's great.
There's another one that's a little more like kind of cell shaded looking. I think like a little more like hand drawn instead of pixelated. But that one I've heard is actually pretty decent. Like it's gotten to the point where these clones are actually creating like monsters that are more interesting than like some of these newer Pokemon. And it's like, come on, Poke Freak, you got to get your shit together. Like.
And not only that, you can blend some of these creatures together in this one. So you can kind of do a little Monster Rancher style crossbreeding,
which I've been waiting for Pokemon to do forever, and they just haven't done that. So
I remember way back in the day when I went to my buddy's house and played Monster Rancher and thinking, oh, what if Pokemon could take this and add it in? And it would be because I already loved Pokemon at that point, playing on my Game Boy Pocket, But anyway. Monster Crown comes out October 12th. It's going to officially launch, like its 1.0 version will launch. But you can try it now in early access if you want to. I think it's only like $15. It's not very expensive.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for kind of the general broader headlines. Let's talk about a little Sony action here, Mr. Freitas. Tell me about this Ghost of Tsushima Legends standalone release. This is kind of a big deal, huh?
Dude, this game is just the gift that keeps on giving. Like, not only did they release like a free, like, awesome multiplayer like expansion, like, I mean, how many months was it after the game released? It was within 6 months, I'm pretty sure.
It was
it was like October, right?
It was pretty soon. But then, now we're gonna have the director's cut that's coming out. That's gonna have the new island, which I've heard is a pretty decent chunk of game. It's not going to be like only like 2 or 4 hours or something. Like it's going to actually be a good length. But what is it? Also updates including the new Rivals mode, a 2-on-2 competitive mode, which I think I was reading is like almost like a horde mode sort of thing, but you're not like the 2-on-2, like you and your friend aren't versing the other 2 people. It's more like there's hordes coming at you, and I think whoever like survives the longest is basically then the winner. Yeah. And you get like a currency like when you're beating the monsters to then upgrade stuff, I think. So that's how you kind of keep prolonging how long you can last. So that sounds interesting. And then there's the new gear mastery system. It gives endgame players something more to strive for, offering even more powerful equipment. Sucker Punch is promising a new piece of content each week from September 10th through October 1st. So I don't know if that's just like cosmetics or whatever, but I mean, that's still cool. There's just going to be some extra stuff coming out in between that time frame. Including, or actually, no, is this for between the update? Oh, okay. So additional rival maps, new survival maps inspired by Icky Island and Eo's Realm. The Trials of EO, a new harder difficulty version of last year's raid. Okay, so they actually did specify. But yeah, they just keep adding stuff to it. And the direct again, Icky's Island, I think is interesting because it is a continuation. It's taking place. It's story content after the end of the regular game, which the end of the regular game could be a bit of a gut punch because there's actually a choice at the end of the original game. So
such an epic game.
Yeah. Beautiful game.
Do we know is this going to be like $20 for just Legends, or what is do you know the pricing on the standalone version? Anybody know?
I didn't see any sort of price for it, no.
But you can, if you want to. Let's just say someone hasn't purchased Ghosts at all and they're not really interested in the single player game for whatever insane reason, but they want to get Legends. The idea is that they could buy it by itself as the multiplayer game.
Let me do a quick search because I'm curious. Because I mean, I feel like if they already have these facts all laid out, like Sucker Punch knows that they're releasing this separately, that they would have had a price. So I'm gonna guess that it's free. But obviously, the thing that I was reading didn't actually specify.
And it might not have the price up yet either. So it might just be one of those things where they're planning on having it as a.
Sucker Punch confirm in a PlayStation blog post on Wednesday that they will be launching Ghost of Tsushima Legends as a standalone title. Okay, so $20, yeah.
$20.
Yeah, $20. So I mean,
a lot of content there.
Yeah.
A lot of content. I still think the director's cut's the way to go. If you've got a PS5, there's no reason not to do that. But
yeah, I'm excited to hop back in because I still had some side quests that I hadn't gotten around to, but there was something else kind of waiting in the wings for me after I beat that game.
How dare you not 100% that game?
Unbelievable.
Fake fan.
I'm gonna punch you in the throat. You're Derek to me right now. I'm gonna punch you in the throat.
Last week you bought an Xbox. This week you're admitting to not 100%ing all of Sony's exclusives.
Hey.
I mean, yikes.
I don't even know who you are anymore.
I'm an adult. I'm an adult.
I'm an adult.
Well,
the other piece of Sony
dad.
news,
This is a cell phone.
The other piece of Sony news is technically a rumor because it doesn't come right from Sony, but it does in a way because Sony hosted a developer summit on August 3rd where it reportedly unveiled new info about its next-gen PlayStation VR. And so this is according to a couple different sources that either saw or heard secondhand about this developer summit. And so here's some of the things that they were talking about. The unit's headset will feature this HDR OLED screen technology, which allows players to view 2000 by 2040 pixels per eye for a total of 4K resolution.
So many pixels.
That's a lot of pixels.
That's a lot of P's.
And it provides a 110-degree field of view, which is a huge upgrade from the current 100. And it's one of those things where if you're playing a game, you can kind of see where the boundaries are when you're in that headset.
Oh, really?
It's not horrible, but you can kind of tell. And so
Yeah.
the 110 will just give it that little bit more of immersion, I think. And of course, with the clarity of the resolution, I think it's sounding like it's going to be an impressive and probably expensive piece of tech. Immersion.
Immersion.
It's supposed to use this flexible scaling resolution, which limits the device to only render what you're actually looking at. So some kind of eye tracking, maybe. I don't know what this means, but the idea is that it's supposed to reduce the strain that's being put on the actual console that's powering the VR. So it's supposed to be able to help it run more smoothly.
That sounds familiar. I swear I remember something. I think it was actually Cerny when he was talking about the PS5, and he was talking about the way that it loads the game in. Like everything behind you technically in the game isn't even there until you turn around.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That kind of sounds like what that's referencing. So
that was with the SSD stuff he was talking about.
Yeah. Because then it's not having to compute all of that information behind you until you actually turn around. So then it's just focusing on what's in front of you. So that could be what that is.
The concept sounds cool, but it sounds like insane tech to have it really be tracking your eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that insane. Maybe that's I don't know. Anytime I think of technology tracking eyes, I always think of Minority Report when he's walking through and they like scan your eyes and then advertise to you. But do you remember this? Remember that movie? I love that movie.
No, I remember the movie. I don't.
Do I remember? I've seen that movie like
Tom Cruise.
I've seen that movie once a year.
Say what you want about Tom Cruise. He has been in some of my favorite, especially sci-fi action movies. That and
absolutely.
That Live Die Repeat, whatever that one's called. I love that one.
Oh, what's the other one that has Morgan Freeman in it?
Oblivion.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually really liked that one.
Not bad.
I remember
didn't get great reviews, but I liked it.
I remember being in a hypercritical phase or whatever whenever I saw that movie the first time and going, "Oh, the reveal was stupid," and like the movie's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I don't know what I was thinking. So
not bad. They also got some info about their controllers. It was reported the ones currently in development will be equipped with these sensors that not only detect when a player is touching the controller, but their exact finger location as well. So this idea is you can kind of tell how far away your fingers are from the controller at a given time. The idea is to try to recreate potentially your hands in 3D environment. I don't know what exactly this all means, but the controller is supposed to be a huge technological step up to help with more immersion.
Immersion.
Actually, and they're saying they're pursuing a hybrid model for AAA releases. And so Sony apparently really highlighted that they want AAA releases to have a PSVR experience whenever possible. So there you go. There's your PSVR updates.
Real quick before we jump to Nintendo, because Jeff and Kyle weren't on our show at the time. What are your opinions on Ghost of Tsushima? One of the best PS4 games that ever came out.
I fought hard in the Game of the Year episode that I was on with you guys.
Were you okay?
Number one, which I
I helped put it at number one.
Were you guys okay? I'm sorry. I have a terrible memory.
What ended up winning? Was it Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima?
It was Ghost.
I'm pretty sure it was Ghost.
Yeah, it was Ghost, Last of Us, Final Fantasy VII. You know what's funny? As I was looking back at 2019 and 2020, right? No, 2019, 2018, I think. Anyway, I was looking back at the two previous years, and I feel like any of those three probably would have won those years for me personally.
Yeah.
Had they been.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say, just to elaborate further on Ghost of Tsushima, it's one of the games of the generation for me.
So good.
I think that's how much I like it.
Same with Last of Us 2, honestly, for me. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Sorry, I had forgotten you guys were on that, so my apologies.
I did start playing a little bit of Legends. I played actually a few rounds with Derek, and he's way higher level than me, but it still kind of bumped things down where he.
Yeah, it's not too difficult.
He wasn't running through killing everyone. He thought he could one-shot everybody, just kind of help power level me. He didn't really do that. He was strong and had better, some better skills and equipment, but it definitely kind of nerfed what he could do.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun. Like Legends is really well done, and
Yeah.
they create a lot of reasons for you to retry maps. And when you try it on the harder difficulty, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the enemies weren't here last time, and this type of enemy definitely wasn't here, and
Oh yeah.
it wasn't nearly this hard last time. Like they really when you go from the easiest to kind of that mid level, that's a huge difficulty jump.
And then the final
I don't want to do
stages,
I don't want to do the gold one. That one sounds
it's so
bad.
hard. Like it's the same jump, but in the same direction. Yeah, I really love the multiplayer in that game. I think it's just outstanding, and
it's cool.
It's hard
you can
to feel
solo
yourself.
that stuff. It's
It
hard
is.
to solo that stuff.
If you're with a group though, I mean, like I felt myself getting better. So like I remember being on the medium and going like, oh, we'll never get beyond this. Like this is like too hard. And then like we're playing legendary, and I'm like, we're never gonna get beyond this. And then we were beating missions, and it's just like you can see yourself getting better, and it's just I just miss that about games. I miss just like keep on trying, you'll get better.
It makes me
progression that you unlock stuff is really cool too.
Very much so. Yeah.
It makes me want to just a new Onimusha game so badly, because it just screams Onimusha. Like just
I want a new Onimusha game big time.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Well, speaking of Nintendo, as Dan teased a minute ago, Nintendo put out a free update. They've been pretty quiet relatively, but they're not. It's not like they're not doing anything. They just put out a free update for Mario Golf, which is cool that it's free, because they added a new course. It's the 7th course in the game, or 8th course, I can't remember. New Donk City. They added Toadette as a playable character who has, her own skill set and special power shot. And then they added ranked matches.
Wow. Stop the presses.
No.
Listen,
Jeff,
Nintendo's still making money.
The only one that bought that game out of all of us.
I did, and I played a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh, there's not a whole lot to this game. It's just not for me, I think.
Yeah.
It seems like a party game too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of wasting my time playing by myself for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Switch is not slowing down in its sales. It is now getting close to 90 million units shipped. It already passed Xbox 360's lifetime sales earlier this year, and it's getting close to passing PS3, because PS3, if you remember, finished just ahead of Xbox 360 when it was all said and done.
Eat it, Xbox.
Which is actually probably one of the closest that the two main players finished in a console cycle. But anyway.
Yeah, because 360 is actually a really good console. So.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And so, but Switch is looking like, unless something crazy happens, they will pass that one. And it looks like they're probably in about 5-6 months, they'll pass the Wii.
Yeah, they're saying by end of fiscal year, so March.
Jeez, man.
They'll pass the Wii. Which, remember, the Wii had those legendary stories about like they were everywhere. They were in nursing homes. They were in hospitals. Every household had one, and the Switch is about to be that. So good for them. Good for Nintendo.
They're making that money, which means that whatever they make next is going to be a horrific failure, and then they'll make something awesome after that. That's how
it's going to flop even worse.
Such is the cycle of Nintendo.
Yeah.
This one's called the Switch U. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, don't put a U in it. Don't put a U in it. Don't do it.
This time we want you to be the controller, like the Kinect, which was very successful.
Yeah.
We install the screen in your body.
Yeah.
Dude, Iwata would be rolling in his grave.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. All right. So, other than Nintendo and Sony, there's been some news out of Microsoft. Not a ton, but the one I thought was interesting. I wanted to go through this with you guys real quick, see what you thought. August is a pretty active month for Game Pass, and it's especially relevant since our buddy Dan finally got on board with that Xbox train to play some Game Pass. By the way, I feel bad. I heard on the show last week you said you were excited to try Death's Door. It's not on Game Pass. That's one.
No, that's fine. Hold on. I gotta turn off the PlayStation sign. I gotta make everything green for when we talk about Xbox. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Suck it, PlayStation.
Death's Door is not on Game Pass.
That's fine. I bought it, so it's all good.
Okay. All right, cool.
Oh, cool.
But there are some really excellent games, and they just this past week added a big wave of games. And so that first wave included Curse of the Dead Gods across cloud, console, and PC, Dodgeball Academia, which I just downloaded. I'm going to try that this weekend.
I played that. We'll talk about that during our...
Like a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay, cool. Console, PC, and cloud as well. Katamari Damacy Reroll. So if you like, that takes me back to like PlayStation 2 days. I remember my older brother being like, have you played this game?
Yeah.
Console, PC, and cloud for that as well. Luminous or Lumens? Is it Luminous?
Luminous.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Remastered. I remember playing was there a DS version of this game? Maybe?
There may have been, but it was big on PSP. Yeah,
PSP is where I had it. Okay. Yeah. Pretty cool little puzzle game. Very, very stylish. That's coming to console, PC, and cloud. Skate.
Huge fan of that series.
And Skate 3 both, I believe, are coming to the console.
What about 2? What happened to 2?
Don't know. It's not there.
All right.
R.I.P.
All right.
Couldn't get those music licenses, I guess.
In on the PC, if you have Game Pass on PC, you can try out Starmancer, which is in game preview, and I did download that, and it was really late. I was getting really tired. I just tried it for a couple minutes last night. Didn't really give it a fair shot, but it's basically pixel art based sort of space survival game. Sort of. You're kind of like the AI that's running the ship, and you're waking up colonists, and you pick which ones to wake up based on their skill sets and their traits and stuff. And it's all very randomized. And the idea is to kind of get your ship in order and then grow and send them out on missions and stuff like that. So it's kind of a strategy management kind of a game with a little bit of Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 style pixel art. Not for everybody. It certainly has a slower pacing to it. I didn't play it for super long. I wanted to try the Ascent. So anyway, this coming week, you'll be able to play Art of Rally coming to console, PC, and the cloud. Also, Hades coming to both consoles, but specifically to Game Pass. So it'll be on PlayStation 4, which means you can play it on PlayStation 5, and also to Game Pass. So console, PC, cloud for that as well. Here's the big one, guys. Microsoft Solitaire Collection Premium Edition. I mean...
They automatically installed this on my PC because that's how huge the game is.
Dude, yeah, it's installed on mine too. That's
Yeah.
okay. I was like, did I hit a button I wasn't paying attention to here?
No, they just put it on there for you, man, because they knew that we were diehard Solitaire Collection fans.
I really am. It's one of my favorite games to poop while I play. All right.
Yeah, so I bring my whole computer in with me when I poop.
Yeah, me too.
Play on my 4K monitor.
That's what the Steam Deck is for, you know?
Yeah, there we go.
That's right.
So, although it
future
doesn't
is
have
now.
Game Pass, whatever. Anyway, leaving
Steam
this
Upper Decker.
leaving this month is Grand Theft Auto 5, which was in the cloud and
Oh no, I've never played that.
So
Didn't Rockstar just say something about how they don't like Game Pass? Didn't they just
Yeah,
Did they?
yeah.
as part of that 2K earnings report that we talked about earlier with the new franchise coming out, he
Mhm.
talked about how he sees the value of subscription services like Game Pass, but he doesn't understand why you'd want to put your frontline
Oh,
game.
so was it Take-Two or was it Rockstar?
I think it was Take
Might have
Two.
been
Okay,
Take-Two.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think it was Take Two.
I mean,
Okay.
to be fair, how many tens of millions of copies have they sold of Grand Theft Auto 5? Of course, they don't really
Yeah.
lean towards subscription. They can just
Yeah.
sell physical copies. And
If I were talking to this
I-
guy, I'd be like, "You're right. You shouldn't put your games on Game Pass."
Yeah.
Did he say
No.
if he meant at launch or because I mean they've put Red
He
Dead
did.
2 on?
No, he meant
you know.
like if it's your frontline games when they first come out, why would you do that?
Yeah,
But he's
so
saying if it's your back
backload 'em
catalog,
later,
that's a
yeah.
great time to put those games on there.
Absolutely.
People just-
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's,
I don't
makes sense.
disagree with him. Like I see what
I
he's
don't
saying.
either. Yeah.
But I also think there are some
It's
developers.
a good
and
question.
publishers-
Devs got to ask themselves. Yeah.
Some devs and publishers, that's the way to go, is to get on a subscription model like that. So, Ape Out is leaving Crossing Souls, which if you
Oh,
haven't
bummer.
tried it,
Ape Out's
little
really
game.
fun.
Darksiders Genesis, Don't Starve, Final Fantasy VII, and Train Sim World 2020, all leaving. Which I think I just got Train Sim World for free on Epic Game Store. I can't remember. But anyway, there you go. I don't think too much of great significance leaving if you were like really depending on Game Pass to play those. It's not that they're not good games. It's just most people like Final Fantasy VII. I think I own on like 4 platforms.
I mean, if you've never played Final Fantasy VII and this is where you're playing it, I'm gonna need you to punch yourself in the face.
Hey,
Just-
no,
just
your
a
green
bunch of
lights are on.
times.
You can't say that. Your green lights
Just
are
a pu- I mean, oh damn.
True.
Screw
Phil
screw
Spencer's
you,
on his way
Sony.
to beat you up.
on.
Now we're boys.
We're homies. You're homies now. Yeah.
They're homies.
He'll be like, I heard what you said. It didn't make me happy.
Phil, is that you?
Right now, I'm gonna talk to your wife about Game Pass.
Oh my.
Maximize customer base while I beat you up.
All right. Well, that does it for headlines. If there was
Did,
anything
did,
else.
uh,
Yes,
did
let
y'all
me
not
know.
hear about the? I'm sorry, not the other Microsoft news. There was and I couldn't put this in the notes, but there was the Halo Infinite possible date leak by the Mexico Krispy Kreme Twitter.
Okay. You're gonna have to.
Mexico,
You're
Can
gonna
I
have
please-
to give me the full story.
Can I please tell this story? I've been
Yes.
dying to say it, and I kept on forgetting to get on the thing.
The source is so hilarious.
All right, so and it's totally credible. So Lawrence Sontag
Totally.
and Bruce Green of Used to Be Funhouse, they have a new kind of YouTube like channel together where they report on news called Inside Gamers, and they were reporting on this story because Krispy Kremes in Mexico, they're doing like Xbox and Halo Infinite donuts with like Master Chief's face on it. You're eating Master Chief, all that good stuff.
How do you think they pronounce Krispy Kreme in Mexico?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, cream is probably creme.
Creme, yeah.
Creme.
Creme.
Why? It's a business. They would just say Krispy Kreme.
I don't think
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Like anytime they say like an American name of something, it's like, oh, it's just Krispy Kreme.
right away.
There's your other brain buster for the night, guys. You got 2 this episode. So anyways,
if you're a Mexican, comment below.
Please, we need help.
Don't forget to mash that like button.
Too white. Anyways, so the like Krispy Kreme's like Mexico Twitter accounts, they're like, in celebration of our new donuts, why wait for November when you can eat Master Chief now or whatever. And of course Microsoft told them to take it down, yada yada, and there's just a lot of credibility to that because those donuts are real. They are in a relationship with them, so that date's is about to get announced soon. And maybe accidentally got like leaked, or the window at least sounds like it's going to be November. Phil Spencer in an interview did say he had a 3 or 4 week period of time that he has locked down. He just doesn't know yet because they're waiting for other games to kind of announce their dates in November. So I'm thinking in the next
Dan first, and then he's going to announce it.
I think in the next...
hold on. Phil. Krispy Kreme. Okay, yeah. He said to just order a bunch of Krispy Kreme. We didn't talk about.
Please buy my Master Chief Krispy Kreme. Anyway, so it sounds like soon we're gonna get a date for that, and it sounds like it's probably gonna be sometime in November. Just based off of this story.
Gotta be.
Makes sense.
Can we talk about the most important thing, and that's Krispy Kreme is actually pretty delicious. Like
some would say sinfully delicious.
Just straightforward glazed, just a nice glazed, simple glaze.
It just tastes like diabetes to me, but
yeah,
that's fine. It tastes like a future.
There's nothing wrong with that,
dude. It's like Oreos. I mean, would I rather eat the delicious cookies that my wife bakes fresh? Like, absolutely. But Oreos are also delicious. I mean, come on,
They may be poison, but they're sometimes perfect.
Exactly, delicious poison. They would say
Krispy Kremes are better than Dunkin' Donuts. Always have been.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Dunkin' Donuts is friggin' garbage. I can't stand how much everyone around here loves Dunkin' Donuts. It makes absolutely. And also, we've gotten so lazy here that they don't call it Dunkin' Donuts anymore, Tim. They removed donuts off of the signs. It just says Dunkin' now.
Yeah, it's just Dunkin' everywhere.
That's how frickin' lazy these
soon it's gonna be
frickin' people are. Dunkin', I need my Dunkin'.
Can you go to I'm gonna go to down the street.
I need Dunkin'.
The best thing that I've seen involving Dunkin' Donuts in the last several years was when Casey Affleck did the SNL sketch. I don't know if you guys have seen that. You should watch it.
I have seen it. I just can't remember it now, but
it's pretty great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about stuff that we have been playing and or watching. So I'll just go down through the list here, and if you're one of the people playing one of these things, let me know. Have you guys tried out the game GRIME yet? GRIME.
No, I have.
Okay. It's only on PC right now. This strikes me as a game that is going to land on consoles at some point. I could be wrong. Maybe they won't have the resources to port it, but it just seems like a Game Pass
better with a controller too. Like
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It seems like a game that's not super taxing either visually, so it feels like it could be on the Switch. It feels like it could probably be on Game Pass without too much effort, but who knows? But GRIME is yet another, and I know Gaston, you always talk about this, so if you're listening to this, I know you love these games, but it's yet another one of those action RPG with roguelite elements, sort of, although this one isn't as roguelite as I thought it was going to be at first. But it still has those vibes, like you still start playing it and you're kind of like, oh, it takes some pieces from Souls and maybe from a lot from Metroid. And I don't know if you have the same thoughts on this, Jeff, so I want to hear what you think in a second, but I feel like it's close to being pretty excellent. I made it through the whole first section, beat the boss, finished the demo, and then I think it's like $25, and right now it's on sale for $22. So I'm just like, you know what? This game just screams major sale within the next, maybe the next Steam sale will have it for like $5 or something, and that's when I'll grab it. It didn't quite hook me enough to say I'm going to spend $20 on it, but that being said, it has some cool moments, but it also is trying in some ways to be Metroid, and it doesn't do great at that. Like, it makes you circle around the map a few times, a little Hollow Knight-esque, where you're repeating areas. Not nearly as massive. Hollow Knight is such a big game with so many maps that you have to trek through. This didn't strike me as that, but who knows? The first area could be smaller than the other ones. I don't know. But I do think the combat was cool. One of the cool features about it is the idea of absorbing like enemies when they attack. So that's the first thing you learn how to do is it's instead of like a parry, your head is like this glowing orb, and if you hit the right bumper or RB, right shoulder button at the right time, you'll kind of put your head right where they're attacking and you'll absorb their entire essence, at least down to a certain chunk. Most little enemies, it kills them right away. Stronger enemies, it'll take them down like half health. But you build up essentially what's called breath, and then you can use that to heal. And so it's just that system's kind of cool. They turn parry into something that is a little bit unique. So I like that. But the rest of it's pretty standard. You can pick up different weapons. Some of them are fast. I had the little dual blades or a gigantic axe that was, really heavy to swing. You get, some ranged stuff. You get the ability to move around the environment a little bit more smoothly over time. It's all that kind of stuff. You upgrade your character over time. I want to be faster. I want to be stronger, all that. So it's good. It's good. I think it's worth trying out the demo if you have Steam. But it is not necessarily something I would say is instant buy. Jeff, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm actually in full agreement with you so far. I'm also this is a me problem. I'm just really bad at the games that this game doesn't really hold your hand. Much like Ori is the one I think of because there's a reason I haven't beaten either of the Ori games because I just get lost and then I give up.
Because you have no
I'm like, oh, I've already done this part like 6 times.
Like Gaston, who's sitting there. Oh, I booted it up for 10 minutes and then I deleted it because the owl was annoying. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? You
never played the first
freaking Bandicoot loving moron. Like, what is wrong with you?
Good edit.
Just kidding. We love you, Gaston. We love you, Gaston. But seriously, you have terrible taste in games. Play something else besides Crash Bandicoot, for God's sake.
I thought like Ori would have been like a slam dunk with him.
Absolutely, me too.
Talking animals and stuff like that. Like, come on.
Well, the thing with Grime too, I think you're right, Jeff, is there's no like the beginning is actually this really weird kind of opening cutscene of these two like rock people feeling each other up in the middle.
I had no idea what they were doing. I had no idea. Is that like the
hey, you have my attention. You have my attention.
Dude, I'm telling you, the opening sequence, you kind of lean back like, what did I buy? Like, what is
it rock? Is it rock porn? Is that
a little bit?
A little bit. Okay.
They
kind of better not awaken something inside of me.
They kind of look like. They look like they're made out of mud or rocks, and they have these weird like gems kind of jutting out from them, and they don't look like. I mean, they're humanoid, but it's not like ooh they snuck in some action. Like it's really weird. It doesn't at all go like it's not human looking.
Would you say you were rock hard while you were experiencing this? Or?
I was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Been appropriate.
You went for it. You went for it.
Truly not. But I will say. Okay. I will say that I do kind of like when games like this just jump right in. Just start. Let me just control my character and start moving around. Like I part of me wishes they would have given me a little more guidance, but all they do is give you a few button prompts to learn how to do a few things, and then outside of that, you've got a menu you can go to and look at a few things. Otherwise, you got to figure it out on your own. So I couldn't
even get to the first boss, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, I just circled like 6 or 7 times, and then I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm done here.
I can't tell folks if it's a really difficult game or not. It's one of those things where that first area could have been.
It's not. You just got to know where to go.
Well, that first area could have been, in the first area and first boss, they could have toned it down. A lot of times these Souls-like games will do that. Even a game like Dead Cells wasn't incredibly difficult, that first area. And then they're like, okay, you guys got it? Cool. Because it's about to get rough. Like it's so, some games ramp up the difficulty. And so who knows? Grime might do that too. But before we go dig into all of the different Xbox Game Pass games, I know there's a lot of those. I want to hear about Greek Memories of Azure. What is this?
Dan, was it you that played the demo too?
Yeah, I played it last week. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I played it this past week, finally, because the art style just immediately grabbed me from the screenshot. So I know I just knew I had to play it. But I mean, it's kind of like along the same lines as what we were just talking about, Grime, where it's kind of like that platformer type. Game, but it's action based, and there's actually a part where you're introduced to very early on, you're introduced to another character that you can play as.
Right.
And the two of you kind of go on your little adventure together, and you can control both of them at the same time with certain controls. Sometimes you need to use them separately and split them up in the map.
Yes. As far as like the art style and like the way
it's so gorgeous, dude.
Like to Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, I think is definitely. It's almost like it would just be like the same developer, but like or like
I can see that.
Yeah, like a cousin, like just it's like a cousin to Hollow Knight.
There's definitely more color in it though.
More color,
but
yes,
yeah.
more color, yeah.
But I do like that the different characters that you at least start with, it's like a guy who does melee, and I think he does another special or something too. And then the girl you play as is ranged, which I thought was I think it's cool. Like yeah, it made me want to play as her more because sometimes those enemies sneak up on you, and I'm like, okay, the dude is getting his butt kicked, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have the girl take the lead and just range attack. It's just a beautiful game, man. So far, at least.
I think it's just a unique take on like doing like instead of one character learning all these different abilities, it's like, hey, let's like kind of just put a little bit of like an extra step in there, like have it be literally different people, and you can like swap between them, you know. So.
I don't know what the demo entails, like if it's just 2 characters or
I think there's 3 because it shows on the image.
It looks like there's a third one missing or whatever. From as far as I got in the demo, looks like there's a third spot missing. You could toggle as a third person. I'll definitely buy it. It just depends on the price.
What are y'all playing it on? What'd y'all play the demo on?
Switch. This one is a Switch for me.
Did it chug for you at all? Because it got slightly chuggy at some parts.
No.
I mean, it is a demo, so no. Okay.
No.
I don't know.
I guess I'm very lucky, but I mean, if the game's like $20 or something full price, I think it'd be worth it. It's just a gorgeous game.
I mean, I think Hollow Knight was like 15, and like Hollow Knight is like, as far as like not even just never mind the length of that game, but like the quality and just like everything about that game to me screams like more than 15. So like if Hollow Knight can sell for 15, then this game I feel like just shouldn't be more than 15. But then it's like then you get into the semantics of like, well, you're comparing to I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But
pricing on indie games is a weird thing, you know.
Yeah. Everybody has opinions, different opinions.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, this demo definitely sold me on the game. So
cool.
I'll look at. I know that it should be out now, if not next week or something like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah. So I'll keep double checking and see what the price is, if I remember to. Because if it's like 20, then I think it's worth that. But if it's a little more, I don't know. I'll wait.
Okay. Well, I am curious about the Elder Scrolls Online update. Jeff, have you joined Kyle yet? Are you up to
we
speed?
didn't play together, but I did start.
There's a little bit of like you got to get your life together in that game. Like you have to get through a couple tutorials and like get a lay of the land, and then like
what's the level that you usually need to hit before you can really start teaming up with folks? Like level 10, level 20?
No, like almost pretty. Like you through tutorial, you're like level 4 or 5, and the second you get out of it, you can start like doing stuff. But like really to start doing stuff, 10, you can start doing dungeons together. Until then, you have to kind of just get someone to 10, which you can easily help with.
Really easy to level up, though.
It is,
Everything just go after every enemy you see.
It's it's Skyrim. Like everything you do.
I played it a little bit. I think I got to level 4. I didn't even finish the tutorial.
Yeah, I'm on like 3 or 4.
So you'll probably be 5 or 6 by the time you get out of the tutorial. So it's not it gets grindy later, but like you'll be able to get to playing with people really quickly in that game.
So Kyle, even though you've pretty much experienced almost everything this game has to offer, do you see yourself continuing to play and or rolling a new character? How are you getting approached?
So I'm still working my way through major expansion stories. I'm been playing them all over the place. So I think I have like 2 more major stories to play. One is like the Dragon DLC, and one is like the Greybeard or Greymire or Grey something. I forget. I think it's Skyrim.
Lots of gray.
Anyways,
I don't know what the body part is, but it's
Grey
gray.
something. I'll tell you. So I have those 2 to do, and I'm doing a lot of just dungeons like that. But I did roll another character. So it's all fun for me. Like that game is just, that whole world is fun to be in, and I forgot how fun it is just to like sit in a town for a while and like character watch or people watch in that game. As they like do silly emotes and have dumb conversations with each other and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this. I just love this. I just miss this.
Even the 2-hour tutorial, because it's like a full mission, the tutorial.
Yeah.
Even that 2-hour bit, I felt how casual the game was. It didn't feel like I'm gonna have to grind so much for this. The only thing that you have to work on is your inventory, because it's gonna fill up really fast if you loot everything that you see. So that's the only thing you have to watch. But other than that, like gameplay wise, it feels really casual to play. I don't feel like I don't know. I don't feel like people are gonna judge me for the way I play.
The MMO world itself is it's almost like a totally different group than normal gamers. Although normal gamers sometimes play MMOs, because I have myself indulged for hours in things
Yeah.
like WoW and EverQuest 2 and
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, the good
But
days.
when you get in there, it's almost a different mode of gaming. It's just totally different. It just
Mhm.
feels like the way you communicate's different. You start
Yeah.
using
Mhm.
phrases like rolling a new tune. Like who talks like this?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's got its own
So,
lingo. Yeah,
it's got
and
its own lingo.
I sift into it real quick. You know, like
Same.
it's,
Well, that's why it's tough because it's like when I jumped back into 14 so I had played like 2 months in a row, and then this past month I took a break because now things are coming out again.
Mhm.
And it's like I just started a whole new character because it's like my other character was only like level 30, but it's like I didn't remember anything. Like
It's
as
hard.
far as the menus, the systems, like
Party's over.
that's
Like there's
what,
that
like,
smirk we were talking about.
you know, what certain things mean. Like it just gets lost on you. You take a break at all, and
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that face, the Johnny Depp face when he's really confused and like when you walk back into a game after putting it down for a while. It's impossible. It's impossible. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this week. So Derek Teague has joined.
Suicide
This is
Squad was
why
really
you're
good,
getting-
and thanks for listening.
This is why you're getting all the dumb jokes. Derek, welcome, my friend.
What is that small child? Is there a small child in the background?
Yeah, that stupid cat.
Oh, that's a cat.
That sounded like a cat. Yeah.
Derek, tell your pussy to shut up.
Wow.
Oh, look at that kitty cat.
Yeah, look at that one.
That is a fluffy
She's
cat.
not as nice as all the other cats. Like she's very irritable, so she'll probably try to bite me in a second.
I kind of want to see that. I'm gonna need you to keep petting her, please.
Come on the show,
Possible
get bit,
that-
leave.
It's only
Yeah.
possible
Alright.
to know what cats want. Like they can make that noise, and that could mean all of the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely, or literally nothing. It could just
Or
mean
nothing.
literally zero, nothing.
She
She
Absolutely.
could just be saying, "I hate humans, and if I were bigger, I would eat you." Like she could be saying that.
Yeah, because she would totally say that, actually. She is an irritable cat. Hold on one second. I'm going to let her out. I don't know how she got in here. Hold on.
All right. Well, Derek is here, but he's gonna step away for a second. I do want to talk real quick about Omno because I'm with you, Jeff. I fired up. I think we said this. Jeff was saying this in our group chat we have going. I fired up Omno because it's on Game Pass.
It is.
Why not? Might as well give it a try.
Right.
And at first I was kind of like, oh, it's another one of these kind of. They kind of look like wood figurines a little bit, very simple designs on the faces, very
Yeah.
polygonal environments. All right, let's see what this is. You know, some of the lighting on the second area is pretty good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But once I realized right away, like, oh, this is all it is. You're collecting these little light pieces from around the
Mhm.
environment to then unlock this rock that then takes you to the next environment. And maybe there's more to it. I'm telling you, it was so boring.
Yeah, yeah.
Quickly uninstalled it. I felt
it's
like
the type
Derek.
of
I was
indie
like,
game Derek
trash.
makes fun of, and I'm like, yep, that's when I understand people that make fun of indie games. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm with you now.
I mean, it's the same thing, but they don't really give you any kind of intro. Your character literally wakes up and you have control. You start walking, and then it tells you like, gather the light. You know, it's like, all right.
Yeah, there's no history of like you unlock a mural. Well, I guess there's some things you can unlock where it's a log of a traveler that was once in the area that you're in or whatever.
Right.
But it's who cares? It's
Yeah,
just like
that's
the gameplay is
sad.
so passive that who really cares?
Well, and
Yeah.
when the game is all about, it's very passive. There's not really any combat. You're just supposed to solve puzzles. Then at least the platforming and jumping should be fun, and it's not. It's just like it's kind of
No, the platforming is
precise.
such a slog.
So I
Some
don't
kind of
recommend
hook, you know, some kind of story hook or something, you know.
or gameplay hook of, oh, you can rewind
Yeah, yeah.
time, or oh, you get gigantic, or
Yeah,
whatever. What
it's
is
like that game Arise where like at least it had that time mechanic,
Right.
which was really cool.
Right.
Even though the jumping was like, again, it felt like you're a slog or whatever, like a slug or whatever word is I'm looking for. It just seemed like it took your character too much to jump his fat ass up to a ledge.
Yes, I don't recommend Omno, but I want to.
I don't recognize it as a game.
I don't
It's not
recognize
a
it as a game. I don't recognize it. I do want to just quickly echo what you guys said last week. The Ascent, which I did try out for the first time today, so cool. Like it's a really visually, I was shocked with how good it looks. Like it looks really good, very detailed. Like it. I know everyone wants to compare it to Cyberpunk. The only reason you would do that is because it's literally that's the setting.
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise they have nothing in common. Like they share a setting and that's it. So that's where the comparison should completely stop.
This game is actually breathtaking, but
Oh jeez. But the opening, it was really cool, like all the different steam coming out of the vents and the robots that are like huge, and I thought, oh, I'm going to fight these, but they're all really weak and stupid, and so like I kind of like that. And Derek's right, you were talking about this last week, Derek, the combat. I
Oh,
think
you listen to our show? I'm so
I
proud
did.
of you.
I did. The combat was, at first I was like, oh, I think I'm aiming at them, but I'm missing. But I kind of had to get the right feel for, I don't know
Yeah.
what, like every game has a different feel for how the aiming works.
Mhm.
Also, I realized it wasn't until I actually read the on-screen prompt really closely, I was holding the left trigger to aim, thinking that was going to help me, and I was
Yeah,
shooting
no.
over their heads.
Right.
Yep.
It's
like
for
Oh, maybe
cover.
that's my problem.
Yeah. It's for cover. So like if you're behind the ledge, you can crouch down, and then if you hold the trigger, he'll actually aim over.
Well,
I
the-
actually
and
don't
shoot.
remember
started
if I
using
did
it.
that or not.
I started using it to my advantage when they'd be like up a set of stairs. I just
Yeah,
start
right.
unloading from a distance, just kind of
Right,
hold the
right,
gun
right.
up and shoot at them. And
Yeah.
so it's cool. Once I kind of got into the groove of that, that helped a lot. And anyway, I haven't played it for very long, but I think it looks great and it's really fun to play. That is one that we should. And
we'll play that
I'm
together.
in agreement. I think that's one I'd
4-player,
rather
yeah.
jump in to play. Even though I loved I shouldn't say loved. I really liked Tribes of Midgard. I think it's fun, but I think the Ascent is something I'd be much more interested in
Yeah,
playing
me
with
too.
other people.
For sure. I'll second what Kyle said last week, which was the town is like super cool. The detail and just like it's beautiful, but like it's like it becomes quickly overwhelming when you're trying to navigate it.
Yeah.
Because it's not like playing like a third person open world game where you can just see for like a long distance in front of you and be like, oh, there's that thing over there I want to get to. Like it's an isometric game, so you only see what's on the screen at that moment. So it's like, wait, how do I the icon that I need to get to is on which floor? Okay,
Yep.
and then it's like, do I need to find stairs somewhere? Is there an elevator?
Man,
Like,
yeah.
That's
But,
pretty much where I got when I shut it off up to
but
that
it
point.
looks nice. It's a super nice looking city for sure.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm excited to see
I'm
what else
not.
I
I
can
mean,
home.
if I play with you guys, sure, but I'm sticking with Judgment and
Judgment.
then Death's Door. I can't play anything else. I even thought about buying. I was looking for stuff to buy, and I was like, why? Why would you buy stuff? Like, you don't have time to play it. So
Hey, well then the four of us can play because I'm.
what
playing it,
It's true.
what have I missed so far? I mean, I understand you can't go into like details, but like, have you
We
all
covered a
just
bunch
done-
of headlines, and now we're just talking through stuff we're playing.
Oh, okay.
Tell me about what you're doing with Judgment. I know last week you talked about how you were getting back into it. Have you had a chance to play it much this week? Is it hooking you like the Yakuza games? And I say this because I know you like those games, but they don't hook you enough that you see them all the way through usually.
I
So
know.
is this doing it?
I hope. I mean, I made it to chapter 2, but that's not apparently a big deal, even though it felt like a big deal. I'm like, man, chapter 1 felt really long. This is probably like a 6-chapter game. Nope. It's 13
Ouch.
chapters.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
They're not all that long though, so.
So, but as far as am I having fun? Well, I didn't get to play it all this week. Same story as I tell you guys every time. I don't have time, but I did. I take today off, and since I couldn't go see Suicide Squad, I played probably about an hour and a half of Judgment, and that's how I got through chapter 1. Chapter 1 ends nicely. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it kind of pushes you into a new direction of the story. Like you spend the whole like prologue in chapter 1 trying to solve this. Well, you're not really trying to solve the murder. You're just trying to get your client out of trouble. Like he's arrested and he's the one that they think murdered this person. And he's a Yakuza captain. And your goal is just to basically prove him innocent. And so that's kind of what chapter 1 ends on, is it goes from that case and what you're doing with that guy, whether he's innocent or not, and then it kind of moves it forward into a new direction. So that's where I'm at. Story still hooking me. I'm not playing the game on any like hard difficulty, so the combat's just basic. It's just there for me to get through the story, because I will probably play Lost Judgment on normal difficulty. This is just so I can get through it, so I can buy Lost Judgment on day 1. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to it. I mean, unless something releases that completely knocks me off, where I'm like, I don't care. I really do. There's something about it where I'm like, I want to see this through. So
Yeah.
there's that. Death's Door did distract me because I actually played that more. I beat the. So this isn't super far in the game. I beat the castle door or whatever you fight. It's a boss fight. It's like your first. I feel like your first legit boss fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm in the witch's castle or mansion, and I unlocked one soul, but I guess I have to unlock another 3, and I have zero idea where I'm going because everything's closed off. So I'll have to figure out what I'm doing there. But I just want to give a shout out to that game because it's full on indie feel and it feels great. Like I love it. I still love the music. I love the gameplay. I love everything about it. I would love to beat it. In reality, I'm probably not going to, but I do appreciate the game. I think it's a great game. It's
Well, it's not super lengthy. You can beat the main story in about 6-7 hours. So I've 100%ed it this week just because I love it. I think it's amazing, and so I just wanted to keep playing it. And there's actually what they call the quote unquote true ending. That's the achievement you get from seeing this final scene. It kind of explains a little more context to what's going on at the very end. But you don't need it. You can roll credits just by kind of beating the main boss. There's like 3 main dungeons you go to. It's once you get to the witch's mansion, that's the kind of the first dungeon area. You get to her estate, and then a mansion, then the inner furnace, and then you go to there's a mushroom kind of overgrown forest area, and then the last part's up in the mountains. And you mentioned the music. Dude, the music, especially, I mean, the music everywhere is pretty great. When you get to the mountains, it becomes super like majestic, and I got lots of Zelda vibes. It was really good music. So they didn't spare any expense.
Yeah, I like that it has like little simple puzzles too. So I didn't feel like I was just playing like a Souls game where it's just like go to one area to the next and fight enemies and then level up and then fight a boss. It felt like it was doing a little bit of Zelda stuff there.
It's a little bit like, hey, here's the only path you can take, so go that way, and eventually you'll unlock the door that was locked before. And then I'm with you. I like that they did that too.
So it's a good combo of Souls and Zelda. I do see the comparison, and I like it, but and I'm not saying I won't finish it. It's just more. It's a time issue. It's a time issue.
Sure. It's a really good one. I love that game. And so if you need access to the wiki for trash games, you've always got me. You got my number. So.
guys, I know everything about this game. Of course you do. It's a 3 out of 10. That's trash.
Of course, because you don't love lower numbers out of 10 games, right?
No. Outriders is goat as fudge. Don't even talk, Kyle.
I'm not. I have nothing nice to say. Nothing.
He's like, I just don't even.
By the way, I'm doing great on my being single and not dating. I'm doing great on that. By the way,
okay,
that's your update there.
That's congrats, I think.
Yeah. I got a big question mark after that one, but
shrug.
So did want to mention that about Death's Door. I freaking love that game. It's one of my favorites this year. Did also want to mention Dreamscaper, which is my background. I'm sorry, Dan, that you mentioned it earlier. Was it this year or was it last year that you mentioned this?
I don't remember. It was whenever it was right before we started Valheim. I had downloaded it and I played it for a couple hours.
Early 2021.
I was probably taking a nap,
Yeah, probably. Well, you literally were taking naps.
I didn't have that until I got reamed out by the manager.
You know,
I'm gonna need you to not fall asleep on the clock there. All right, Timmy. Thanks, Timmy.
Yeah, what a jerk for suggesting you stay awake on the podcast.
Unfortunately, it's really just not like, could you just sit at your desk and, not.
Could you not hold the camera on your cheek while you fall asleep? But listen, we are definitely in this wave, and this happens all the time, where a certain style or genre of game will come up, and then everyone will kind of build their project around that style. So it happened with, and it's still happening with Fortnite style games, and right now I think it's happening with everyone kind of wants to be the next Hades. So there's so many of these types of games out there. So I get it. So hearing that this game Dreamscaper has elements that you've seen in stuff like Hades, and we also have what's the one that just hit Game Pass? Curse of the Gods.
Curse of the Dead Gods?
Curse of the Dead Gods.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of games that are in that same.
I actually almost bought the game that you're about ready to talk about on PC because it's like $18 on Steam.
Yeah.
But when I
That's where I
watched
got
like
it.
a review, and I was like, oh, thank you for not selling me on this game. So
Yeah, so I really am enjoying it, but it is certainly not for everyone. And I would say this, if you don't want like a story and a lot of like conversations with other characters and relationship building stuff, then go play Hades and Curse of the Dead Gods. Like those games, those are almost, I can't think of any games that do the combat of that style of game better. So that's where you want to play if the combat is your main thing, because Dreamscaper combat isn't as good as either of those games. It's just
No.
not. And so, and that's okay. But it is pretty good. There's some fun stuff there. Some of the bosses are pretty cool, and some of the areas you go through cool. But it combines very much kind of this indie style. It's very kind of trying to think of the word, almost like a watercolor type of look, like wood
Yeah,
figurine.
it's like wood carved, like wood. Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of the waking world. When you're in the waking world, you walk around, you can go to different spots in town, you can talk to people, and then whether you're in the dreamscape or in the waking world, you can uncover recipes to create items you can then give to characters as gifts, which kind of builds up your relationship with them, unlocks more conversations, and unlocks what's called influence, which you can equip. And those are essentially just buffs in the game. So like one character you talk to might, as you build your relationship with them, your ranged attacks start to get stronger and stronger because you're building that influence. And so that's how they've connected those two pieces. I think it's pretty creative the way they did that stuff, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's the best combat of this style of game. It's not.
No,
It's
no.
not up there with some of the other ones. So again, I think Hades and Curse of the Dead Gods do it way better. I just think this one's an interesting combo of those pieces. So I do like it. When it's kind of like Death's Door in that they don't really punish you for dying. You don't lose a ton of stuff.
No, you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to die, honestly.
Right.
Because it wakes you up, and then you go to the bar or whatever, daydream or whatever. Yeah.
What you lose is anything you gained on that run. So it's that kind of a thing. So anyway, I like it. I won't spend any more time really talking about it. But if it's only $18, that's to Derek's point. It's not super expensive. If that kind of game appeals to you, go watch a video of it. If that style appeals to you, it is fun. It is. It was
right up. It was right up my alley, as I said in the chat. So I definitely tried it out before we started podcasting.
Diddled it a little bit.
I did a casual diddle of this game, and and I did enjoy it. What I played of it, I basically just died at the first boss and then called it and went to watch my the movie on Netflix that I haven't finished yet. Thanks for that, by the way. Hey man, I wasn't crying yet. Okay, it was just an emotional thing.
Don't bring up crying when Derek's here.
Crying, okay?
Yeah. You're right.
Don't bring up tears. Don't bring up tears when Derek's present.
You're right. My bad.
God
I don't believe in crying. My body doesn't cry. It gets rid of water.
Okay, it's like pain exiting or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a quote. But it's good. I'm gonna play more of it. Dreamscaper definitely caught my attention. I like the blend of. I know the combat's not amazing, but I think it's trying to prioritize both combat and story.
The story stuff almost has a little bit of a Life is Strange vibe to it. It's very heavy and artsy, and she's remembering stuff, and you're kind of uncovering what happened to her and her family.
Yeah, because she moved there. And
right.
Everything's still like in boxes in the beginning.
And she's an artist, so you'll get inspiration and you'll sketch ideas, which usually end up being some kind of upgrade when you go to the Dreamscape. So they connect them in some creative ways. But
it's cool.
I just feel like we're getting too many of these type of games.
Yeah.
Like it's getting oversaturated where it's like that's the reason I didn't buy it. It wasn't just the review did push me away with the whole roguelite stuff when he started like, I would go on this great run and then I would die and then I was like, oh, I gotta start all over. Yep. And I was like, that's a no for me. That's because I really liked that PS5 game, Retardinal, and I liked it, but I didn't have the patience to sit there and be like, I want to start all over every freaking time.
Starting over is very frustrating.
Don't worry, I beat it for both of you guys, so you're welcome.
Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate it. But my point is that like there's so many of these games. Like for me, it's I don't even know if you guys who have more time, and that's not like a shot, like I'm just so busy, but like y'all have more time for gaming, like you guys aren't probably going to finish most of these. So I mean,
Yeah,
I agree.
with like Returnal, like I wish Returnal was just like a straightforward, like if that game was just like here's the story, and if like
That's what I really wanted.
you get the like a Metroid game, like
You
almost
could
like a
have
3D
like
Metroid game.
checkpoints
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it
yeah.
could be almost soulish, like where it's like, hey, we're gonna make a difficult game, but you get to keep your weapons, you get
Right,
to upgrade your
exactly.
weapons, and there's checkpoints. I would have 100% played that game because
Yeah,
you cannot deny that graphically it's awesome. You cannot
Gameplay.
deny that it plays perfectly, and I think it has a decent plot. Like I think people that played it through like the story and stuff like that. So it has all that. It's just for me personally, and I know I'm not alone. The whole, hey, I'm having this great run. I got lucky and got this weapon or whatever, and then you die and you're like, oh, I lost. Pretty like you lose like what 90% of the stuff that you unlocked. So
Yep.
it's like it feels pointless.
Yeah, I agree with you. And same unlocks in this style of game too, where it's like even when you unlock something, but you're unlocking the chance it'll show up on your next run. So
Yeah.
I can see how that's not always going to appeal to everybody. But I do like it. I think for $18, it's worth it if you like that style of game. If you don't, then don't waste your money on it. Speaking of not wasting your money, Game Pass. I see a plethora of Game Pass games listed here. We've already covered a few of them. I don't know if this was Dan because he's jumping into it, or if it's anybody else.
course.
But who's playing some stuff on Game
All right,
Pass, and
so-
what are you thinking?
My Xbox cherry has been popped, fellas. All right,
That's gross.
it's time to get down to business.
No, like now all I'm thinking about is cherries popping, and I'm not talking about the fruit.
She's my cherry pie. So I downloaded a bunch of things because I have Game Pass, and Game Pass
Mhm.
is really cool because there's a lot of indie games on there, which I'm sure Derek appreciates.
Yep,
Yeah.
I ignore everything.
Indie games that for a while I'm like, that looks interesting, but I just don't right now want to spend $20 to $30 on it.
Fair.
But they're on Game Pass, so I get to try them.
Did you
so-
buy Death's Door though?
Yeah, I did. I
do think it's hilarious that like there are a ton of like indie games on Game Pass, and I'm like, nope, and then Death's Door
Death's
comes out.
Door.
I'm like, oh, I have to buy it.
have to
It
buy
looks
that.
good.
Death's
I
Door
gotta
is
pay for it, so it's good.
If it was on Game Pass, I wonder if you would have.
I would be like, it's trash. I don't want Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass really is for poor people, and Sasan and I do not like poor people.
No, obviously, and that's why you guys like doing stuff to each other. So yeah.
Okay.
But anyways,
Gay stuff.
so
If it wasn't
real quick,
fair.
Thank you for getting
Yes.
like making sure
Yes,
you
thank
add that in. Like
I just
they're
didn't know if
both
people, if the
males.
listener
I
caught
feel filled in
we were
now,
talking
so thank
about.
you.
so the things that I download, the two main things that I'm focusing on. So I'm starting my Gears of War journey.
All right.
So
What are you
obviously
starting with?
the first one.
Okay.
I actually downloaded the Ultimate Edition.
man.
I wanted to confirm with you guys. Is that like a remaster or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay.
it's not like 4K or anything because they
Sure.
never up-resed it for Series X, but it's like 1080p
Still looks
and
good.
60 frames per second.
I was gonna say it looks like better than what I would think a early 360 game should.
Yeah,
Look
they
like,
like
so-
redid like
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Okay, so I'm doing that, and then the Ascent, which is pretty excellent.
What do you think about Gears after hearing about it for so many years? How does it play? How do you like the
So
guns?
the
What do you think?
dialogue is just very smart. It's very smart.
Very
It's
bro.
very
No,
good.
I won't even let this bit go on. I won't let this bit go on.
Like he
I think it won an Oscar the same year as Star Trek Beyond.
I'm pretty sure that the dialogue is a conversation between Sasan and I, bro.
yeah,
Bro.
dude, when you eviscerate like a person's body and you're like, yeah, bro, like
Get some.
get some, like it's
Dan-
literally stuff
Dan,
like that.
it's important, in my opinion, it's important that you go through this, not only because it's fun and
Right.
it sets the story, but by the time you get to 4 and 5,
Oh
the
yeah,
improvements across storytelling and writing, they'll blow you away. Like
Well-
what they did with 4 and 5 is pretty great.
That's why I
I'm
wanted to do
surprised
that,
by
'cause-
5.
like the entire time that like the Gears of War series has been around, like that's been the series that I'm like, if I buy an Xbox, like I want to mainly play that first. So here I am, I'm playing that first.
Gameplay wise, there's not many games, third person cover based shooters that do it better.
Yeah,
But story wise, I would say they have a decent, or not decent, they have good lore.
Yeah.
Even story is decent. I just think the dialogue in the early entries,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this was across the board. Let's not act like we were getting masterpieces story wise and dialogue that we do now back then. back then it was still pretty good, but they knew what they were aiming for, and that was
Sure.
The Xbox fan base was very bro shooter, multiplayer
Yes.
shooter.
Yeah.
But there's like some really cool settings. Like in the beginning of the game, I was like, all right, I'm playing it, I'm enjoying it, but like it's kind of like there's nothing unique as far as in the beginning of the game. But then when you get to the factory is actually pretty cool. There's like a lot going on in the background. It just like visually looks really cool. There's almost like it looks like an oil rig out in the water, and like the ocean's all just crazy and everything. I'm like, oh, this visually looks actually interesting, like more than the city was. So I'm there right now. So that's Act 3. I think there's 5 acts when I looked it up. So I'm probably like halfway, a little past halfway done with the first one. So it's cool. I get the feeling that it's going to get progressively, like over the course of like getting to 2 and 3, like it'll get better. Like the gameplay will feel better, and like because like it feels almost a little loosey goosey sometimes. But
it does get better.
Yeah. But again, I mean, early 360 games, so
not the same leap that like Mass Effect 1 to 2 made in terms of like, wow, this is a completely new game. But it gets sharper, gets better. Even Gears Judgment, which people don't love as much, and the story maybe isn't quite. It's a little more of a throwaway story.
It's
in
a
my
prequel,
opinion.
right?
I was gonna tell you, it's a prequel, so
yeah.
But it's the gameplay on that one is pretty good though. I do like the gameplay in Judgment
because it came out later, and it's done by the guys who did Outriders.
People can fly. I mean,
do I need to play that, or can I skip Judgment?
You can skip it.
If it's not important to the story, I'd rather just jump into 4 after 3. So
I think what you should do is just play through the main story, the 1 through 5.
Okay.
And then if you're like, I'm a Gears fan, then you go back and play Judgment. If you go, I like the franchise, which I have a feeling that's where you're going to end up at, is I like it. Then, and if you're not in the mood for it, then don't play it. But if you walk away playing Gears games like me and being like, I love these, I could go back and play these. Yeah, Judgment is definitely worth it. It's fun. In fact, when I went back and played it the last time I played it, I was like, this game's way better than what people crapped on it.
Plays really well.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, that's the main one, because again, that's kind of that's been around for a while. So
and you're gonna go play Halo because Halo's better, right?
Yep, that's right.
I actually, since we are doing What Are We Playing, I have been playing Halo 2 Anniversary.
Oh, nice.
And I was actually thinking as I was playing, I was like, you know what? I like Halo more than I think I realize I like Halo. Like the whole lore and everything.
That happens to me every time I have to talk about Halo, because I grew up just being like, Halo's just like what I tolerate Halo, but
Same
I always
here.
like when I start thinking about it, I'm like, but boy, when you're really on a killing spree in that game, like I don't know if there's any shooter that feels better in the world.
Well, and the lore is really good.
And the lore is really good, yeah. So like
they did one of the coolest cross story projects before 5 came out. I think it was 5.
It was 4.
And was it 4?
No.
I think it was before Guardians, right?
Are you talking about the TV show?
Yeah, you're talking about
the web series?
The podcast.
Halo 5. Yeah.
Oh,
there was a podcast called The Truth, the Truth, something like that.
Yeah, because they were hyping up.
It was a scripted show.
Because they also did the TV show with the guy who played Luke Cage, that actor.
But I couldn't get into the TV shows. Always came off to like the little I watched of them was like, this is really cheesy. I can't get into this.
They were kind of cheesy, yeah.
But
they weren't good.
The podcast was really well done. Like
really
it had me
it was
so.
Done by Keenan or what's his face?
Keenan Michael Kay was one of the actors on it. Yep.
Oh.
But it's well written, really well acted, and it's kind of
it hyped me for Halo 5 so much.
It really introduces this mystery of Halo 5 and the idea of like where is Master Chief and all. It's just really, really good. And then Halo 5, which I still haven't played. My plan is to play through all of them at some point. I've played through 1 through 4, and I haven't played anything after that. I haven't played the ODST or the Reach. So I haven't played the
Reach is awesome. You have to play Reach.
Anyway, all that to say, they've done some cool stuff with their story too. So Halo's not just multiplayer shooter. Like I think the multiplayer of Halo 3 especially I really loved, but I think the story and the lore is actually surprisingly
co-op in those games are tops. Like I have so many memories of like beating those games like in one night, like all night drinking Mountain Dew and just going through it with a couple buddies.
Mountain Dew and Xbox, man.
Mountain Dew and Xbox. I tell you what,
both green,
like
am I
peanut butter
right?
and jelly.
You're
I might-
so white.
Even though I
Degeneration X, it all goes together.
Yeah, degeneration. Yeah, you could be like, suck it, when it
Suck
kill your
it.
friend in PvP.
Jesus.
Running riot.
I regret buying my Xbox. No, so I bought Death's Door also. That's really cool. I like the vibes of that game. And then what was the other one? Oh, Forza. I tried out Forza because also an Xbox exclusive. So I wanted to
Which
just
one did you
try-
try?
Horizon is the more arcadey series, right? So I wanted
Yeah.
I wanted to do that one because I'm not into more like Gran Turismo style racing games. So I wanted to do that one. Feels great, looks great. It seems really fun. The open world aspect I think is a little unnecessary.
I love it. That's what
the
I
best
love.
part
I
of
love
Just-
That's like
Dude,
the whole
just
point of the game.
take me to the thing. I just want to race. Take me to the place.
Well,
right?
then
I
you
don't know.
want
I
to
like
play
driving
Forza
to the
Motorsport.
Then you want to play Forza Motorsport then.
No, just bring me there. Damn it.
You're playing the wrong
Um,
one.
No,
Nope.
trust me. There's actually reasons why you want to explore the open world. There's like
Yeah.
cars you can
100%.
unlock.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
like
So many collectibles.
skills you can unlock.
The reason
There's
that
stuff-
this studio got Fable is because of how good their open worlds are in racing games.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's all kinds of challenges you'll stumble across that you didn't know
Yeah,
were gonna.
yeah.
It's
Is
really
there
fun.
any cars hidden behind waterfalls? Because if there isn't, I don't give a shit. So
there might be.
There-
I don't know.
there
How many
is.
waterfalls are
there
in the
might
game?
be.
Sure,
They're
let's say
everywhere.
yes. Let's say
But
yes.
yeah,
to
say
that.
yes, everybody.
Yeah.
And then the Ascent also, which I mean we've already mentioned that's pretty fun. I would like to maybe play that as a group. That would be
It'd be fun.
fun.
we
But
could
Celeste,
just do our next podcast while we're playing the Ascent.
yes, there you go.
Do it.
Cool.
Celeste, I gave a try. That's pretty interesting. Dead Cells, Hellblade, which I know Derek loves Hellblade.
So good.
dude,
Helltrap.
Just the constant like whispering, and I get it's part of like the whole like she has like schizophrenia or psychosis or whatever, but it's like there's a lot of just like voices in her head, and you're actually hearing them, and it's like it's a little distracting to be
Dude,
honest.
did you see the making of how they did that? They actually had a mic in the middle of the room, and they had all the different actors walking
just
around the
different
room,
spots.
like like getting closer and farther from the
yeah.
mic. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah,
That's literally every woman, though. That's what they experience every day. They have like a ton of voices. That's why they're so emotionally unstable.
Sure.
I just want to let you guys
So
know.
which voice will
Okay.
get through today? I got
See,
it.
Exactly. They have no idea. They're like, I hate them.
Whereas
I like
Derek,
them.
can skip cutscenes and all that in games, he can't do that in real life. So you know,
True.
you just
That's,
can't.
think that through.
Katana Zero, which actually is really cool.
It is
Yeah.
great.
Great game.
I like the
Wonderful game.
vibes. I love the vibes of that game. It's
Yeah.
really
The,
Big-
the
big into that
rewind and the
game.
VHS
Yeah.
kind of look and feel.
I
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
good.
It's got a very what's that? Hotline Miami.
Hotline
style
Miami.
storytelling.
Yeah. But he's just like a samurai, and is it like his arms resting inside, like the kind of like just
Yeah.
being a badass with the one
it's
arm?
like,
so
like Arn from. Final
It is like
Yeah,
Hotline
yeah,
Miami. The idea is
exactly,
like,
yeah.
okay, I see the space, I see where the enemies are, and I
Yeah.
have to figure out how a way to quickly dispatch everybody before I
Yep.
get my one
Yeah,
hit
yeah.
kill.
That's cool.
and I'm-
just feels good. Has it just the actual like controls just feel good. Yeah, just downloading Plants vs Zombies. That's a classic. My wife and I love Plants vs Zombies, so that's just fun to be able to play that. So
Dude, when you get to the moment where you're kind of ready to try something like a bigger game, I really do think you would like Fable. Probably go Fable 2.
I do. I have two. I have two downloaded. I just haven't actually
Fable
started it,
and
so.
the anniversary, the other one that's they remade the first one, right? I think
not
it's called
bad.
Anniversary.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. I think that one's really
Not
good.
bad. I still think Fable 2 on its own is a great standalone game, and I personally think it still holds up gameplay wise too. I think it's great.
Yeah,
Fable Anniversary is good, but 2 is really where I thought got
Yeah,
really
I have that downloaded. I just haven't started that. Dude, Dead Space is on there, so like I don't have to plug in my PS3. I have Game Pass. It's on there. It's great. It's good
Yep.
stuff. I love being poor. Great. Love being poor.
Living that pole life.
Sure.
Poor life.
All right, well, real quick, I just finished watching through season 1 of
Kyle, do you have different Xbox games that you were playing through?
Oh, I mean, I have a couple. I mean,
Oh,
I did-
please, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I did. I mean, I'll make these really quick because I
Not
didn't
in a
play
hurry,
very
go ahead.
long of them because these are all pretty bad games. Dodgeball Academia. Wow.
I have it
amazing.
downloaded.
Yikes, guys. Maybe skip it. I
okay,
don't know.
all right.
It's
I'll uninstall it.
It's kind of like a story-based like dodgeball game, and it just I don't know. I really hate the art style. I really hate.
I think it looks great. I
thought
love
the art
it.
style
no, I really didn't. I get what they're trying to do, and it looks unique, I guess, but no, it's not my thing. I think
One of
it's
the
it too
first
anime for you?
One of the first Game
No.
Boy Advance games I
Not-
had was a dodgeball game. It was like Super Dodgeball.
same. And I thought it was gonna be like that. I thought it was gonna be like something like, and it's not. You know, so
I know
Is
what
it
you're
not?
talking about,
Is it
yeah.
just not fun or?
It's just not fun. No, I think the
Okay.
mechanics are really lame. I think it's trying to be a little too cute, where it's like,
Okay.
oh, you're at it's Harry Potter. Like the story is like Harry Potter, but instead of wizards, it's dodgeball.
See,
So
I
you
was
come
thinking
up
That
and
sounds stupid.
you touch the magic relic and you get like a special like dodgeball ability and like, oh, but you're the chosen one. It's really dumb. Like
I
the
was
whole thing is
hoping it was
stupid.
like My Hero Academia, but dodgeball.
That's why I downloaded it. I was like, Academia. Like
Academia.
Ooh.
This
is gonna
what
be
they're counting
really anime. No, it's awful. I hated it.
I feel like that might be why dating life is hard for Derek, because he keeps telling the girls to touch his magic relic, and they're like, "What are you?"
Yeah, you'll get special powers.
You'll get power ups.
I'll just rattle off a couple of my other no's. The Falconeer, no.
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 Game
Agreed.
sucks.
No, you have to say
Mountain.
trash. Kyle, you
Sorry,
have to say trash.
no. It's trash. Yeah, that's what we do here. Yeah, it's trash. It's garbage trash. Project Winter,
Yeah, no
Uh,
good.
sorry.
Trash.
I love this. This is a sorry review segment.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
What was it that you'd say, Derek? TGT or trash, garbage, trash?
Garbage, trash. There you go.
Unto the End, really cool art style. This game is
Not
very,
fun to play.
very interesting. That's where I was getting to. Awful to play. Uninstalled it immediately.
Yeah,
no
same.
Into the trash. Into the trash.
Into the trash you go. Curse of the Dead Gods, it stayed. I like that one. That one's fun.
Yeah.
Good.
I like
good.
that game quite a bit. I think it's very fun. I might dip back into that one from time to time. I think there's I think it's unique enough where it doesn't feel just like another Hades clone, even though I'm sure it probably is.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
Stop, which is the one that probably splashed the most for me. It's you can turn your brain off now, Derek, but it's very Life is Strange. Very like slice of life, like, oh, this like, these people just living their life. Really great music, really great like camera angles as you're walking through the environment, stuff like that. It's kind of
Is it
unique
a
kind of
straight up adventure game, like picking dialogue?
yeah, big time. Yeah, you're walking from one dialogue decision to the next, and
Okay.
very weird, very cool kind of vignette stories. I imagine are going to connect at some point. But
Wait, which game?
it's called Last Stop.
Oh, Last Stop. Okay, that's what I thought, but I just didn't catch
Is
it.
it?
I'm enjoying
it's,
it.
It's a Telltale style of.
Very
It is.
Telltale, yeah.
It
Very much
plays
so, yeah.
like I'm gonna finish it, but it reminded me of early Telltale, where like there's still a lot of kinks they got to work out. Because later,
Yeah.
even the last season of Walking Dead, I was like, holy crap! Look at how far these mechanics have come.
Yeah.
Like from the being stuck in camera angles and not being able to find a way out and stuff. Like they've come a long way.
When you go back
Yeah.
and play some of
Yeah,
those,
this
like the
definitely
way
feels
their
like
eyes
early-
move on their faces is a little bit like, oh my gosh, how did they do that?
Yeah, it definitely feels like early Telltale, but it's still interesting. It's almost like a weird David Lynch type story where
Yeah.
you're like, what the crap is going on here?
Jeff, it sounds like you played and nobody else did, but I did the Paper Dolls one, the one with the bald dad and the daughter. I don't know what.
Oh, I haven't done that
chose.
one. I did the first one I did was the girl student or something.
Okay, yeah, you choose from like 3 different characters on a subway, and they all have their own different stories, and
Mhm.
they all kind of end in this kind of Twilight Zone twist.
I
type
get
thing.
it. The last stop on the subway, guys.
Yep.
I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
it's super clever.
So
I
let me
actually
explain.
do like the
It's
writing a
called
lot.
Last
I think
Stop because subways
Subways
stop.
stop
They stop.
at different
And
stops.
Yeah,
Sometimes
and
there's the last
sometimes there's
one.
the end of the line, and then they
So
go
do
back the other direction.
All other vehicles just keep going forever? I mean, I don't get. Okay.
When they're done for the day, that was their last stop. I get it. I get it, you guys.
Get it, guys?
I'm getting it.
You need
Smart.
drawing?
If
I
you
can
like this
draw
type of
it.
games, I
Wicked
highly
smart.
suggest it. So.
You know what's interesting? Listening, Kyle, to the games that you're playing, those are all Game Pass games, right?
They were, yeah.
And then Dan, of course, is diving into Game Pass and downloaded a whole bunch. He listed a ton of different games. It is crazy how many games are on Game Pass.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
And yes,
Yeah.
there are some games that are definitely for a very niche, very small audience. I
I
get
was
it.
so bummed about Unto the End. I feel like I
Yeah.
was the only one that liked that, but I didn't play it more.
It
It's
doesn't
so
play very
hard.
well.
It's so hard and it's not fun. Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
think
It looks
they're
great
trying
though.
to-
I really like the
whatever
art. I think the art
says.
style is so cool in that
The
game.
combat gets so complex, like the way they want you to guard or do different
Yeah.
things. It's like, oh, this actually isn't fun. Cool, got
No,
it.
I traveled quite a bit and didn't realize I dropped my sword and like that's it. That's it for your sword.
That's
so,
right. Your sword
It's
can knock
over.
out your
That's
hand
over
really
for that.
easily.
So and there's no. I'm sure you can pick one up later, but there's no way to get that sword back. So
You're like, oh, let me just
Oops.
quick uninstall. Let me just do that.
yeah. So, yeah. It's very
yeah.
involved. I'm sure that game has its audience because it
So
seems like a very
so much
hardcore.
stuff on Game Pass, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then there's stuff like Omno, which is a big no.
Yeah, I read the
Yeah,
description
the
of that.
no in
and,
there is-
No.
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 Yeah.
Don't do it. I just watched through season 1, the only season available, of Sweet Tooth, of course, based on the graphic novel, which apparently is much darker and more twisted than the show, from what I've heard. But the show I found to be quite good, quite entertaining. There's lots of like plot loopholes and things that you'd go like, why didn't they just, there's plenty of that. But overall, very interesting. I love the setting. I think the concept, and it's also very funny just to watch a show that's all about a horrific virus that's breaking free, and then they kind of add this fantasy spin to it.
Yeah.
And it gave them a good reason to mask up a lot of people on set. A lot of the extras for certain scenes were all masked up, which is kind of funny.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I've seen the first episode of that show. It's I've been meaning to finish it. It's actually good. It's got a good hook to it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Will Forte plays the main character's dad.
Dad.
I won't say anything else about it, but Will Forte's good. Like, he's got some range. He can do some stuff. Will Forte's good. Whether he's in Parks and Rec as the dad who wants to get Twilight into the time.
Oh my gosh.
No Twilight. Yes, Twilight.
But yeah,
You promised.
he does a good job in this. And then of course the main two actors, the kid actor does a pretty good job, but really the star, the one who really steals every scene is, I'm gonna blank out on his name, but he was in Game of Thrones briefly as a character. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's huge, like 6'6". He looks like a football player, and I don't think it's very ironic. He actually plays in this apocalyptic world a guy who used to play football. So he was a football star, who's now, of course, because of some circumstances, him and this.
He was. Wasn't he with Daenerys or?
I think he was like an assistant or some kind of like what's the word? Not assistant.
I don't know. I can't remember
It's the
now.
biggest show ever on TV, guys, and y'all don't know the names of these characters.
I mean, it didn't end very
Is it
well.
though? Is it?
It was at some point. It was.
Now the biggest show is Sweet Tooth. Hear me out.
Sweet Tooth. But I do recommend it. I thought it was pretty good. Someone's watching Dexter. Who's watching Dexter?
That would be me.
You should probably stop.
Well, we have an official. Well, hold on.
You have
So we
one more
have an-
season left, and then stop.
Yeah. we have an actual date now for season 9, which is Dexter New Blood. It has a additional title to it, which is it's cool that they're coming back to it, because I mean it does have potential for them to right a wrong, which was a show that has one of the worst endings in all history of TV shows, alongside
No,
How I Met
I
Your
won't let you
Mother.
finish that.
Stop
No.
right there.
So
Majority rules
Correct.
on that one. Sorry, bud.
there's no majority. Either you're dumb or you're not dumb, because that
Yeah,
ending
and
It's
sucks.
you.
so.
You're the dumb one.
No,
Nope.
the worst
I am
endings
never
are
the-
Dexter
I am
and
never
True
the
Blood,
dumb-
and that's it. End of list.
But yeah, no, Dexter, I'm rewatching it just because my wife and I had watched it back in the day on, I think it was on Netflix at the time, up to season 4, and then like that's when like the newer seasons were coming out every year.
Mhm.
I feel like I got that in DVDs through the mail. I feel
Yeah.
like
I
that's how I
definitely
watched it.
remember
Well,
Netflixing
it's-
it old school.
It
Yeah.
started, first season started 2006. That's how old the show is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I watched that either through the Blockbuster DVDs in the
Makes
mail
sense.
or Netflix.
I can promise you there was a certain point where I just skipped a season and watched the final season. Like I watched the recap for season 6 and whatever it was, 7.
I mean,
and just watched the final season.
so
Like it was getting so repetitive.
It's like
for me.
Jimmy Smits. Really, I'm skipping ahead.
it's interesting watching. It's interesting watching these first like 3. I'm about to start season 4, where most people who love the show are like, yeah, the first 4 seasons are the best seasons.
Mhm.
And like having, again, the show started in 2006, so all these years later, all these other shows have come out, like Breaking Bad, or like more recently I watched Mr. Robot, and just the craftsmanship of like the writing of those shows are just like kind of make Dexter, even those earlier seasons that people really love, seem kind of not as great. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of nostalgia. Like I remember being super into the show when we were watching it at the time, but watching it now, like I am enjoying it, but I'm like, this isn't as great as I
Hold
remember
up.
it. Like
came from
it's
a bygone era of TV.
it's
almost,
not
once-
it's not terrible, but like there's just a lot. There's kind of like almost like a goofiness to some of the scenes, or just like it's not even like suspend your disbelief. It's just
Yeah.
straight up stupidity of characters
Dude,
doing.
I'm with you. Some of the characters remind me like they kind of feel like they're lifted right out of NCIS or CSI.
Yeah.
There's too much procedural crap that they have to deal with, especially in the later seasons where you're like, okay, you guys are just clearly spinning your wheels, just cashing checks now.
Yeah, because Dexter can't get caught, so it's like, well, he has to find his way out of this situation.
Yeah, they should have had like a season 5 or something in there somewhere where they're onto him, and then the rest of the series would have been him on the run somehow. Yeah. That would have been infinitely more interesting.
Wait, the show never gets to that? That never happens?
No.
This show sounds like it's garbage, guys. Like,
well, I mean, hey, you never know. With this newer season, maybe his past catches up to him, so we'll see.
Okay, I should say this. There are moments where certain individuals not only catch on to him, but really uncover.
But it's like the institution of police or whatever.
I thought there was going to be a whole season where, because I've only seen the first season and I was done after that. But like I figured there'd at least be a season where, like Jeff was saying, like he's just on the run, he's on the lam, trying to clear his name or something.
It's more about certain individuals that are on. He has to.
Although I've heard that the book series, so the show is actually based off of the book series. I
didn't know that.
I've heard in the books things are more interesting. Like there are certain angles that they sort of pursue in the books that, like, I remember hearing like, oh, okay, that would have been really interesting. It would have been super dark, but really interesting. So, but they deviated from the books in the show. So, but I'm gonna keep watching because
I'm gonna be one of those suckers that watches a new season. I know I am.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Expectations low. That way, if they somehow figure out a way to really nail it, then it'll be thrilling.
But seriously, How I Met Your Mother, fucking worst ending of all time. I'm just saying.
You actually broke up there. I couldn't hear you. I actually couldn't hear you there. You broke up. Yep.
It's the most wrong you've ever been.
The worst ending of all time.
Yeah.
This is the most wrong you've been. Think about me saying that because you say Hamilton sucks. This is the most wrong that you've ever been.
If you think that the ending of How I Met Your Mother is not bad, then you don't actually believe in love. I'm just throwing that out there.
You're right. You believe in reality.
Yeah, you believe in reality and real circumstances
you believe
of life.
In the second
not a magical fairy tale. Exactly.
You believe.
I agree.
I default to siding with Jeff.
Of course.
Get the freak out of here.
Majority rules.
You were probably crying when the ending happened. You were like,
that is How I Met My Mother.
Robin. Oh.
I mean, that was way too easy. You snagged onto that way too easily.
All right. Well, we need to talk about The Suicide Squad. I am so sorry. I apologize that I called it Suicide Squad earlier.
Yeah, this isn't a David Ayer piece of garbage, unwatchable Academy Award
winning Suicide Squad. Okay, so The Suicide Squad, of course, the big movie that's out right. It just came out this weekend, and so you can watch it on HBO Max, or if you care about big screen, big sounds, go watch it in the theater. Which is for these kind of movies, I think that's the way to do it if you can.
That's what I did. Yeah.
But let me hear those of you who watched it. Give me some spoiler-free overall thoughts on The Suicide Squad.
Everybody dies.
Oh, okay. So spoiler-filled. Got it.
I'm only like half joking, which is the best part. And you don't know who it is.
The marketing campaign said nobody is safe, and I will say that the marketing campaign delivers on that. So
big time and very early. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. They're called the Suicide Squad. So,
right.
I like classically don't like DC movies. Sorry, everybody. I guess I don't like fun. I don't. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't want to dwell on it. But
you mean outside of like the Nolan series?
Yeah, I like anything new. Zack Snyder and forward, negative for me. But I don't want to get into that. That's where I'm coming from. Is like, by all, like I shouldn't probably like this movie. I thought this movie was absolutely thrilling. I thought it was so fun. I thought it's one of my favorite superhero movies to come out in a while. I don't know where it ranks in the greater pantheon of superhero movies, but just in terms of like that fun factor and how much my face hurt from smiling and laughing so much.
It's probably more Deadpool than other types of movies.
Way more Deadpool. Yeah. It feels like The Boys, if y'all are watching that at all.
The Boys.
Yeah, the gore is up there with The Boys.
Feels very much like that. Even that like raunchy like humor, very Boys. I think James Gunn just knows comedy. Like there's just a lot of situational comedy, a lot of like wordless comedy going on.
Dude, there's comedy. There's a bit where like different people, it wasn't a crowded theater or anything, but there were enough people in there that everybody got a joke at a different time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And you probably know the part I'm talking about.
Yep.
Where like there's a rendezvous and they're like, well, how come this didn't happen? and everybody in the audience was kind of getting the joke at a different time.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that was just one of the best bits in the movie for me. Even though you can't quote it, it's not something tangible. It's just like a good situational Seinfeld type Curb Your Enthusiasm type thing. It's so freaking brilliant.
Yeah,
nice.
He just gets it. The whole vibe of it needing Suicide Squad needs to be this. It needs to be this hard R, like ridiculous, type of affair, and it is all of those things. So it's just what a ride this movie was. Just, and I was really apprehensive to like fully give in to like being like but like at the end of the day, James Gunn makes mostly good movies. I know people feel like he stumbled a little bit on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I've liked all of his movies. I think all of his movies are pretty great in some form or fashion.
I mean, I do think he stumbled a little bit on it, but I still liked it. I still thought it was good.
I agree with that. I think
I did too.
I think it's not as good as one, but
I agree.
I feel like one is a classic Marvel movie. Like
big time.
Tops for me still.
The opening for 2 was one of the best openings of any.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
I remember being blown away by that in the theater.
But the whole storyline ended up being pretty weak. But
weirdly, a lot of the comedy in 2 doesn't work, which it's funny that the comedy works so well in this movie because like I've seen James Gunn not always land comedy wise, and in 2 it's Drax laughing at everything like stupidly and like just calling Mantis ugly and over again.
Like,
it doesn't. I'm just like, this isn't funny. It's just kind of stupid. None of that's in this movie.
I thought it was funny. I don't know why. I thought that was funny.
Everybody's likable in this movie.
All the bits with him and Mantis. Like at first it was funny, but then after a while it's kind of like, oh, I get it. You get it. Think she's ugly. Like that joke's been had.
Driving the joke into the ground now.
Really told this joke 10 times this movie. That's
crazy.
So
that was the weakness of Guardians 2. Strong movie overall. I did enjoy it, but it had these little weak points. But you're saying Suicide Squad kind of is back to that level of the first.
I think it's like an instant classic, like Guardians is.
Is it laugh out loud hilarious throughout, like a Deadpool, or is it more like Guardians where there's funny moments in a serious?
I didn't think it was that funny.
Man, I thought it was super funny.
I need to actually watch it again because I don't even remember even giggling once. I'm not saying it wasn't like fun. I just didn't think it was funny. I thought the violence was good. I thought the plot was okay. I thought some of the comedy didn't land just because I think, what's this guy's name? The guy who was wearing the yellow T-shirt who's like he doesn't have any like superhero abilities.
Rick Flag, yeah.
I just find him to be so annoying.
He's the worst actor in the entire world.
I think he's a terrible actor.
That.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Joel
Flag.
Yeah, he's
just the guy who killed RoboCop before it could get rebooted.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
They
robotic in every
deliberately
role
cast
as he is in that movie.
somebody who can act like he can't feel anything but they mistook that for acting, but he actually is just a bad actor. So it's like, oops.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to nitpick that part, like I'll back you up on that, but that's just because he's a bad actor and he was in the first one. So
I mean, I
still
like
Derek. Overall, did you like it?
I don't find Harley Quinn to be funny. Like, I don't know if people like her, but
get
I
out
don't.
of here, dude.
Yes, people like her, Derek. Like literally, the entire world likes her. Yes.
I don't have a crush on her, and I don't think she's funny. Yeah, so I didn't hate the movie. I want to watch
because you like dudes. That's what that means. That's if you don't like Harley.
Well, it's because she would beat the crap out of Derek, and he's not into that. He likes submissive women.
It doesn't surprise me that Derek likes DC movies and isn't thrilled about this movie. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Batman v Superman best movie ever.
Yeah, I know.
Is it significantly
no
better?
Jokes. #no jokes.
Is it significantly better than Birds of Prey?
Yeah, I think it's better than Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey I find fun though. That's another DC movie I actually had fun with.
That's an example that I thought it was. I thought Birds of Prey was kind of right on par with the first Suicide Squad. Like people really hated on the first Suicide Squad. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. It was fine.
First Suicide
Squad
got
a lot of love too, and I watched it and I thought it was okay.
I thought it was right on par with Suicide Squad.
This is the same thing. Like I feel like I watched all these reviews, people talking about this movie like it's amazing. So maybe it was my expectations of actually laughing, and then I didn't think any of the combat, like the actual like combat was fun, except the Harley Quinn scene, which I'm not gonna spoil it. I thought hers was cool, but other than that,
there's the whole thing.
There's so much action.
It's so freaking
funny.
Yeah, the thing where they're infiltrating the camp is one of my favorite. Like, oh, you're wrong. I don't know what to tell you.
You're just wrong.
You're just wrong.
He just went like
Derek,
this.
Wow.
you watch it?
I can't do it. It's
Derek's
too
on
bloody.
Derek, did you see it in
Don't
theaters
start a
or-
movie podcast, Derek.
I will definitely will not start a movie about it.
Did
But
you
I
guys,
can't
anybody
stay
watch it
asleep.
in theaters or was
Stay
it all HBO Max? For
I
you
was in
guys?
the theater.
Theater.
Max for me.
Max for me, yeah.
I'm gonna
So-
watch it again though because it's just that good of a movie. Like
Yeah,
I just,
I'm gonna watch it again too. Yeah.
it's just so much fun to me.
All right. Well, you've got me curious enough to try it. Just like Birds of Prey, I got curious because not everyone loved it. There are people who didn't, and I ended up kind of being on the overall. I liked it. I didn't.
I've left
I
groups.
don't think you're gonna like this that much because you're not into super over the top violence, so you're not gonna appreciate that.
I mean, if
And
you
I
like
don't
Deadpool,
think
you're gonna
it
like
has-
this.
Yeah,
Yes, but
yeah.
but Ryan Reynolds is actually funny. Like John Cena
but so
is the
wasn't
movie.
funny.
Tim
Yes,
likes the
he was.
boys,
When
though.
He
Yes, he
actually
was.
was,
Not
though.
funny.
That's the thing. He
I
is
love-
funny.
Not funny.
Yeah, Tim
None
liked
of
the
them were
boys.
funny. The only guy who is funny is a damn shark who can't talk. That's the only one that's funny.
Wait, he can talk, right? It's Stallone, isn't
It's
it?
Stallone. It is.
He can talk.
Ah.
Dumb
Is that your Stallone? Is that your Stallone?
Well, so I did love The Boys. I think it's a great show. Can't wait for the next season of that.
Yeah.
Love Deadpool. I think Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. It's not that they were, they're too violent. They're too mean to each other. I don't care about. Like, it's fine. I just didn't think they were that amazing. I thought they were fine, but they weren't amazing. And so
I can't
I'm
believe
just-
you put those on par with each other because Suicide Squad is so much worse
Oh man,
to me.
it's just an editing. It's just an editing nightmare and a
It's so
Frankenstein
freaking
monster
bad.
of tones and it's just
Kinda
a
what
fucking
Birds
bad movie.
kind of what Birds of Prey was too. But anyway,
No,
no.
Birds of Prey is actually better, and the
It-
action is really good in that movie.
And it's
it
well
is. The action,
edited.
the action
It's a
was
well
better
edited
in Birds
movie.
of Prey. Yes, you're right.
And it's tonally consistent. That
Um,
helps.
I don't know. I think after a while I start to just kind of scoff at too much of the girl power stuff. That might have been my problem. I don't know.
Well, it's like
Um,
the scene at the end of Endgame, right?
It's
The
like
Avengers
it's like a
Endgame.
Marvel.
They
Endgame.
they
It's like-
were not being as blatant as they were in Endgame though.
Yeah,
Endgame was like,
Endgame, suddenly all the girls were on one
Yeah.
side of the entire battlefield and they had a girl
Come
power
on,
moment.
ladies.
Like, that
and
never
in Birds of
happened
Prey, they
in
were
Let's
just being women in the movie. Like it
Let's
was
go,
just that was
girls.
it.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't
Scarlet
know.
Witch is over there, girls. Let's go over
Let's
there.
go
Let's
beat
all
up-
meet on a hill and we'll have a cool pose.
Hey guys, it's almost women
Okay.
o'clock. We all want to meet on this hill real quick.
It's women o'clock. Oh my gosh. But I can't imagine I won't enjoy this one. It sounds like it's going to be fun. I'm not expecting to laugh a ton. I'm just expecting to have fun with it. So,
It is fun, yeah.
but I'm looking forward to it. Well, that'll do it for us for this week. And I do have 20 questions game for us for next week, but we won't do that
Cool.
tonight because it's getting late. Thanks, Derek, for jumping on. I know you had stuff going on this evening, so thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you guys next
Steve
week.
was great. Steve was great. I just wanted to give you all an update.
Yeah, your date with Steve went well. Good.
It went really well.
All
I
right.
hope he
We
was
wish
tender.
you,
I hope
we
he was-
wish you both the best. Mazel tov.